Good evening and welcome to the Plastic Crack podcast. Joined today by me and Dom, and I better switch the picture because I'm not used to it. There we are.
Hey!
There we go.
Hooray.
Me, Dom, and also Gumbo Liam, who is always
I'm back.
he's back with a bit. He could be bothered this week.
Could be bothered.
You know what? 2 seconds ago, folks, I was just looking at a pair of blank rooms at the other end, and I was so tempted to hit go live just to catch you two out. So tempted.
Very hot day.
It is an
And
extremely.
the bottle of Coke explode.
Oh my god.
It was a disaster.
It is an extremely hot day. Right, so just before we kick off, you got a different camera angle from me today because on my painting table there is a mystery. You can see a camera here. It's being filmed at the minute, so I can't show you what's going on the table today. So I did actually, to be fair, I did think I wouldn't do any painting, but I could actually paint some of the knights that I've got for that regiment of renown. I've got one that's actually been washed with Nolan oil, so I could finish painting him, so I probably will. But yes, how is everybody this week? How are you, Dom?
Chop hole and tickety boo. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah?
Yeah. First, we've got to do our regular. Can everyone hear us? Because you know how many times did that go wrong? Yeah, I'm actually really good.
Did you have a good birthday?
Yes,
I did have a good birthday. Thank you, mate.
You had a lovely present come.
now you're saying can everyone hear us? I want to double check.
Yeah, because you want to. I know he wants to have a wind up here. You can tell.
Yeah.
He's just building up for it. He's like an angry dwarf tomato over there, waiting to have a go, isn't he? Peter says he can hear us, so that's good.
Yeah,
so,
they can hear us on my stream as well. I could hear
so
myself.
yeah, you will have seen the video, but that's what Ken very kindly sent me. My birthday present.
Yes, happy birthday, mate. Welcome to the club of fantasy.
And do you know what? I have spent last weekend and a lot of today just trawling through websites, rule sets, looking at different manufacturers. You will not believe the number of times. Oh, apparently I'm a bit quiet. Okay.
Turn yourself up. Turn yourself up a little bit.
Yeah.
Almost the other way around, isn't it? We're quiet.
Yeah.
It is, isn't it? I tell you what I think may have happened. Excuse me, I'm going to do in everyone's eyesight now by fiddling around with this. Let's try. No, it's the mic. It's that one.
It's that one.
Right.
Now you're making me panic.
Everyone hear me now?
Right, everyone can hear us. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Right, we can all hear now. Good.
Apparently
I was
professional
a little
here.
quiet. So I know it's slick as hell. I was using the OBS to record something today, and I had to change the settings on it, so I had a feeling it might go a little bit weird there. So
well,
I was all prepared, but you know what? It's like a gumbo. I didn't actually remember what it was I changed, so it's really stupid. Anyway, what I was saying was, I spent ages. You bastard! Because not only did you put me into this, but now I'm having to look into all this stuff to find out what's going on. It's like another language.
There's a beautiful
story.
Like another frigging language.
There's a beautiful
story from Mantic Wargames universe is quite deep.
Yeah.
We had it explained to us, didn't we, in like 10 minutes by the guy in the store that time, and I was
when we were in Mantic,
I need to sit down and read this.
It's not something you just pick up, is it? But you got that, and you got the fantasy universe. But the only good thing about the fantasy universe for the time being is there's no more to be added to it. So what the lore is, the lore is.
No.
But Kings of War are obviously doing updates all the time.
Yeah, I was looking at Kings of War. I've looked at that before, and I have to say I wasn't entirely sure whether that was my kind of thing. It seemed a bit of a sort of, get like the old Lord Melcher in Blackadder, if anyone gets that reference, where you get the old dustpan and brush and just sweep all the figures off the table because you just wiped them all out. And I thought, I'm not sure I really like that idea too much. But I was looking at Oathmark, which I really like the look of. So much so I've ordered a set of the rules because you can never have too many rules, can you?
There are same rules guys that do Frostgrave, aren't they? I think with those smart.
Brave, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and I've got some miniatures for that, but I never got a chance to play it.
You
It's
actually, you
quite
I got the
small
Frostgrave
scale.
when they did the free download over this shutdown. Osprey, was it Osprey? I think it was Osprey. You could get the free rules, so I did that. But I've never even opened them, to be fair. But I was watching a video today, and I forget the guy's name, but I actually funnel, and I hadn't realised he'd done all this stuff on Oathmark, and actually was watching some of his stuff, and it was really, really interesting. I just thought it looked a kind of good rule set that I thought would be quite entertaining. Plus, I like from what you were saying, Ken and Liam, about the lore around 40k with the universe that he's built around Oathmark is
Yeah.
that you can basically build it how you like. So you start with a race like, you would obviously go elves because dwarves. Sorry,
Dwarf.
that's the one.
Ooh.
You'd obviously go dwarf. But
Don't
within
talk to elves.
within the within the campaign or within the setup, you could decide that you border a region that's close to humans, for instance. And therefore you could start to recruit humans into your army, and that would justify you having, a unit of humans in amongst your dwarves or what have you, and which I thought was quite fun. So I thought
Yeah.
you
They
could
did
build
that
it colour
early in
around
fantasy, didn't they?
You can
Mercenary.
do that up to 6th edition fantasy. You can use regiments of renown. So you could use there's everything in there. So you got halflings, dwarves, orcs. So you could have like an orcs and stuff in with your dwarves because you're just hiring a merc unit, which is quite cool. That's why I want to try 6th edition out fantasy. For that reason.
They did still have allies in 8th, but you'd only be like you'd have to be order chaos or
there's no regiments of renown in 8th to hire per se.
no, you can't just get one unit. You'd have to buy a whole detachment for that army. Yeah, like an allied detachment. So.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, that sounds pretty good
like
then.
that idea if you can build a decent sort of. I like the idea, like you were saying. I mean, the bit I really took from the whole 40k discussion. Not that I'm going to get back into that because I've just sold it all. But the whole
don't
bit
get into
is
40k.
Around those chapters and building those stories, and having a chapter or whatever that you can identify and build the history around. I quite like the idea of that.
It's
it
always a
appeals
nice,
to me.
It's always a nice thing. We've got the added bonus of Imperial Fist. We've got the added.
I just thought I'd have the Emperor looking over us there as we slagged up 40k.
Yeah. What's this heresy of which you speak?
Heresy.
but yeah, that's the other thing I like about fantasy is you've got the Total War games. So for PC, you can actually play out on the map and stuff, which is quite cool. Me and Liam are quite into that, aren't we, Gumbo?
When it works. When my PC decides to make it work.
Yeah. Don't even get me started with that. But yeah.
Well, we won't mention the fact you missed last week's stream because you've been up playing your silly little games.
Yeah.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah, Liam was up till 3.
It's been a lot of sales lately, let's just say that.
A lot of sales, yeah.
And I was on holiday. It was a bad time. I was just constantly playing all these new games that I haven't picked up since.
No, exactly. But no. I would say it's definitely a project we're gonna do in the future. Well, I'm gonna do anyway. So keep an eye out for fantasy.
I might pick them back up.
What fantasy?
If the old world comes back, I may be tempted at the moment if I can get a cheap army.
Are you not tempted by say what Dom's doing, getting like proxy models, like Kings of War models to use instead of GW official ones?
I'd have to look at Oathmark, I think, because there was something about the Mantic sort of range that I don't know. I did find a lot of them are metal as well, whereas you are taking a lot of inventory off in fantasy. You lose like a whole detachment, in one fell sweep.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. I think Oathmark, I've just seen they're starting to do their own range, aren't they? So I think the elves are being released now. The dwarves are already out.
I think North Star Miniatures are doing the range of figures, and they're generally quite nice figures. They're I mean, the metals they're a bit chunky, but they paint up really nicely. I've got some for their French Indian War stuff, and they're really quite good.
They're right
But
next
yeah,
door
I
to
mean
Warlord,
they're
aren't they?
plastics and they're
Yeah,
a good price. Yeah, they are literally next
yeah,
door.
yeah, yeah. We saw him, didn't we, when we were up
So I
there?
think
Another one for the lead tour.
they'd be a good range
Another
to
one,
look
yeah.
at. Exactly.
But yeah,
So we
no,
got in chat. Let me have a look
yeah.
at chat while we're going into
Yeah.
file. We got Peter Little was here before we even got started. So welcome, Duncan FX again. Yeah, good to see you, mate. Modelling for Advantage. Miller's Miniatures. Don't know you. Haven't met you before, Guy, but thank you very much indeed. Modelling for. Oh, Leslie's here as well. Hi, Leslie. So we got a few viewers. Good, good, good.
I'll just
Welcome
check.
all
I'll
to the
just.
rubbish.
I'll
we
just
put
check.
out.
I'll just check my chat. Actually, that's a good shout. I know I did promise Peter Little. He asked me a question which I will answer in a second. He was asking about decanting paints, Games Workshop paints. I'm just gonna do a quick.
Oh, he's the pro.
Yeah,
He's
just
the pro.
just
Look
gonna.
at what he made me do. Look at all this.
I showed
Oh
you the
my
way of the good gods, didn't I, Liam?
Oh yeah, but I learnt a few lessons. Some of them are seriously watered down too much. I mean, I know you say you can't have a watered too much, but there are
Mate.
some that
Well, you
I have to
can.
let dry a little bit just to
Yeah,
just to use them.
that's
Definitely
it.
can, in my
But
view.
yeah,
But
so
we were a bit eager that night, weren't we?
no,
Get them all done.
we were eager. Yeah, yeah, we just wanted them done. But no. So if we could just spend 10-15 minutes just taking Q&As from people in the chat if they want to ask us any questions before we really get going, so we don't go off topic and forget to do it. Now's your time, guys. If you want to ask anything, I know I'm going to answer the question about decanting paints, but if there's anything else, feel free to ask in the comments, and we will do our best to answer them. So, let's have
We're
a
so
look.
full of it, we probably got the answer.
Yeah,
So Peter was also saying about something about he's got a book recommendation, Nathaniel's Nutmeg. What the hell's that? Sounds like a cookery book. Is that right?
does sound like a cookery book.
What is that? Bloody hell. Sounds interesting. I'll give it a go. I'm really into a book at the moment with Audible book. You'll like that, Ken. About William Marshall in the Barren Wars period.
Oh,
For
okay.
some reason, don't know why that.
Don't know why, but you're coming through quite quiet on mine.
Am I?
Yeah, it's fine. It's my end. It'll be my end. I'll just turn you up a little bit.
I'm not fiddling around with sound again. God damn it.
No, it'll be me. It's fine. Don't panic.
So what else we got here? You got Old Hammer book then, Ken. That's
Oh
so
yeah,
you've
yeah,
gone
yeah.
retro.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's technically Middle Hammer, but yeah, I'll let you have it. We won't get in that. We won't get in that discussion.
He made me buy the 7th edition army list today, and I said,
Oh,
"But
you
there's
done
an
it?
8th."
You bought it,
Why,
did you?
yeah, I did buy it. There you go.
Because
But
the
I
seventh
don't know, we'll
edition's a
see.
hell of a lot cheaper. My dwarf book is about 60 quid at the minute because they don't print it anymore.
Bloody hell.
That's why I said get the
Hey,
seventh.
Leon. Leon's got the chapter.
Hello. Yeah, get the seventh. Just for the reason of it's just it's cheaper and you can get it's near enough the same unit, so you haven't got anything to worry about. You can build an army around it, sort of thing. But yeah, right. Without further ado, let's crack on with how I do the paints for Peter Little. Really simple. So just pretend it's a normal GW pot. Just for example, it's a contrast pot. All you need is you go on Amazon. I'll put a link after this video's finished. I have done it on one of my other videos before. I'm sure I did a video on transferring paints. I swear I did it. Might have been in a live stream, but I definitely did it. But I'll put a link where I get my Amazon pots from. And all you need is the pot. It comes with the lid and the what's it? The nubby bit, the tip. That's it. I wanted to say that. Yeah. And what I would recommend you buy as well is some metal agitators. So I've got some here, and they're from. I've got these MIG ones. These are. They're quite cheap. They're about £4. But you can get anywhere between 50 or 100, depending on how many paints you got. But you want to get the set on Amazon that come with the funnels. So there's some funnels, and it's literally the funnel sits in the bottle. What I did and what Liam did as well is obviously Games Workshop paints can be a bit thick. So you want to put them in pre-thinned. So you've got two choices. You can go the cheap option, which I've done, which is water, or you can go and get some. It's like you could use not
You could
airbrush
use
thinner.
airbrush. Yeah, you
Yeah,
could.
yeah, not the thinner, but yeah, it's the thinner, isn't it? The airbrush thinner. Yeah, you could just use the airbrush thinner, couldn't you?
Yeah, I don't see
Yeah,
why not.
yeah.
Unless there's something about it, maybe after time. No,
No,
I don't
no,
think it
no,
will.
it wouldn't, would it? No, so you just want to thin them down, basically. So
That would be more expensive, but you
yeah,
probably would get a slightly better
smoother
mix
paint
with
straight away. But
because you do get a bit of
you
a
get
break up,
well, yeah,
don't you?
you get a separation. This is probably the best one to show
Mm.
you. So if I just show you behind, so you can see all the paint particles at the bottom, and in the middle there is just water. So if you want to use that paint, you have to obviously agitate it, but then the paint will go back to being paint. But that's really runny. So
Yeah.
it's
Useful skill that though, Ken.
yeah, very useful. But the paint, I've purposely done it because my paints were always too thick. And I'd rather put several thin coats on to a thick coat. So I purposely make them thinner, and it transfers a lot easier. The metallics we found, you don't even have to thin those, do you, Liam? Metallics seem to come out all right, don't they?
Yeah.
But the actual paints, you do want to thin them before you transfer, and it's literally as simple as putting the funnel on, pouring the paints in, get as much as you can out, pop the agitator in, and then jobs are good. And really, if you've got
Probably spend about 20 quid on it, don't you? But then you
yeah,
get I got all my range done, so
but
yeah,
you're also asking about the labels. Good thing about Games Workshop labels is they're self-sticking, so you can literally, I'll do it with this one. You can peel it off, and it's still sticky and tacky, and it will stick onto the new bottle straight away. So you just literally peel that off, and then wrap it around the bottle itself. If you're going to peel it off, I would peel it off before you transfer the paint across, because otherwise you'll get paint all over the front of it and it can be a bit of a nightmare. So you want it to look nicer. But that's as simple as that. It really is straightforward. Does that answer everything, Peter? Was there any other questions you wanted to ask around it?
So I have a question. Why do you transfer it over?
Oh, Dom, you ever had Games Workshop paints? Like the new in the new
Yeah, I've got
pots?
a few. I don't use many of them though, but I have got a couple. But no, I
Oh,
don't use many of them.
no, they dry out. So
where is it?
Liam, you got a
I'll
crust.
find an example.
We'll show
It's
you
funny
why.
because I was saying before, I've had a bit of a hiatus. Well, I had a hiatus for a couple of years. Well, about 8 years from doing any figures or painting or anything. And I found all the old paints I had, and most of them were still absolutely fine.
Yeah,
It was really amazing.
if you're using your
Couple
paints
of
all
them
the
were.
time,
It's crust.
it's all
It's
yeah.
the
If you
crust around the edge.
if you're using the paints all the time, it's even done it with this contrast paint, right? You might see it. Right, if I open this up, see at the top there, Dom. See all
Yeah.
that build up of gunk? It does when you go to shut it. Look at all that shit there. Look.
Yeah, but I just pick all that out.
Oh yeah, but it's a waste of paint. That's a waste of money. That's
Well,
money.
true, I suppose.
You drop a
Then
bottle,
every time
shake
you
it,
put on the
one drop,
table.
done.
Yeah, exactly. You don't waste paint because to get paint out of a Games Workshop pot, you have to put more than what you want. So you have to scoop it out, and it's just a money grabber really. So that puts me off.
Fair enough. They are bloody expensive. I'll give you that.
Plus, like you were saying about the
Yeah.
pre-thinning thing, it's kind of gets you're
Used
forced to really have thin paint, which is sometimes I'm a bit thing about just chucking it out, especially because some of these model colours I got for Vallejo, they're not thinned, and I do have a habit of just chucking them on, and I'm like afterwards I think, oh, I shouldn't have done that because
No,
it does
they
look a bit
They look a
gloopy.
bit gloopy, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a bad habit, but if they're already thinned, all I do make sure I proper shake them, and it's just ready straight to go on a couple of layers.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I mean.
Peter said thanks.
Yeah, no worries, no
He's
worries.
happy with that.
No worries
With
at
that.
all.
So said. So hang on. Culloden painting. He said Winsor and Newton matte medium is good for thinning too.
There you go.
Yeah, and Leon says, "Oh my, lamella medium is good, but expensive."
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's Games
Of
Workshop.
course,
Isn't it?
yeah.
Games.
I've got a tub of that as well.
Yeah, so have I.
There we go. And how dare you modelling for advantage? He says is Dom actually going to play Kings of War or just toss those orc on the pile? What a cheat.
Well, I told him he's got 2 weeks to paint them, so I'm hoping that's what he's working on tonight.
At the moment, I'm not. I'm making up some
Oh,
cavalry, but I have got them for the next makeup to do. No, I tell you what, it's a huge insinuation. I actually had a nervous moment. I went in the garage over the weekend, and picked out some more figures to make up and get ready to paint.
yeah.
And I could see the table. I could actually see the table, and I was thinking, oh
Could you
my
really?
god, I'm running out of figures.
That's
This
good.
shutdown is going to kill me. I'm going to finish my stash. What am I going to do?
That's good news,
No,
though, mate.
seriously, not really.
If you get,
The book is about. So Peter's recommendation of nutmeg thingy was about a man of war in the West Indies during the Age of Sail. Oh, that sounds interesting. I'll check that out, mate. That sounds really good.
sounds right.
And Steve's on the chat, even though he didn't manage to get into the. So apologies, everybody. Again, we tried to get Steve from On Point HQ on again this week, but the technology defeated us yet again. So we will try again.
Get those drivers downloaded, Steve, just to make sure you got your drivers.
Yeah, I do not know what's going on. I mean, you folks, if you've watched any of these streams, will know that I'm technologically incompetent. So I'm not. I'm saying I have no idea what's going on, but then it's because I generally have no idea what's going on.
Liam's a business engineer. He should know.
But apparently, he lost a third of his body weight sat near this lamp.
Yeah,
trying to keep it. Oh my god, what a nightmare! Yeah.
We will get you on, Steve. You will get to come on. Look at my head; it's already sweating. Jesus.
He's already, and he was saying before everyone joined.
I've got a fan on.
His lamp wasn't it wasn't in such a bad place, and he wasn't going to be such a tomato today. But you are, mate. Sorry.
Yeah.
We can't tell about Liam because he's got that beard.
Yeah, he's got no beard. He's got no beard. Oh, I'm pretty happy with this guy so far. He's looking pretty sweet. But
What are you working on then, folks?
Yeah, literally. I'm doing some of these knights for the Regiment of Renown. They were sent to me, and I want to get them painted up and do them some justice, to be honest. I've done one completely. Nice. All the horses are finally done, which is really nice. I've done all the horses. They're the actual thing that's going to take the longest, to be honest with you.
Do you not contrast them?
No.
Is that what you're doing?
No. No.
No?
No. I'm doing them properly. I really want to do it. I contrast the flesh, but the armor I didn't.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah. The armor's going to be painted in metallics. To be fair, I did debate whether or not to contrast them completely, and I thought, nah, it doesn't warrant it. They're too nice figures. They're too classy, you know. I want to make them old hammery looking. Proper paint job. I want a proper
Goblin green, thick paint.
Oh no.
Chuck it on.
Oh no.
You got enamels then, have you?
Yeah, enamels.
Do you know, I was talking to there's a guy who I don't know whether you guys follow. I know some of the people who follow me follow him as well. Vic, who does is an American guy, does absolutely fantastic painting, really, really nice, including big busts of models and whatnot. It does brilliant stuff. Well worth checking out. Vic's Miniatures, I think, is his channel. But he uses oil paints. Like,
yeah, I've seen this lately. A lot of people testing them out, and they do look really good.
I mean, a very good friend of mine, who I used to game with a lot before he moved away to a different part of the country, he used to use a lot of artists' oil paints and swore by them. But the drying time on them just seemed so long.
Is it quite a while, was it?
Yeah. Well, except Victor was saying that he has some kind of some sort of medium that he puts with it, which does speed it up a bit. But he said, but he said it's really good because it doesn't dry so quickly. The ability to tone and mix and merge colours between the different areas is so much better.
I can imagine wet blending's quite a nice thing to do with those.
Exactly. It's far past my talent, but you check out his stuff. He does some really nice figures.
Yeah, no, that would
he does all sorts of scales from sort of 6 mil up to these massive busts. It's extraordinary. Really impressed.
Yeah, that does sound quite interesting, actually. Might have to check that out.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah, have a look at it. It's well worth.
what about
So
you,
yeah,
Liam?
going old school. I like.
Yeah, definitely old school. What are you up to, Liam?
I'm doing a bunch of things. My paint table is very chaotic at the moment. So
Yeah.
I've recently just got that airbrush, which, yeah, I must admit, I spent a bit of time with last week when I wasn't, when I should have been on here. But I'm still getting used to it. So I've um, got a couple of Space Marines, which I'm just basically trying out the airbrush with, just to see, how good it looks, just as a quick
Smooth coat, isn't it?
spray. Yeah, the smooth coat is pretty beautiful. And then I've got my T34 76, which I've airbrushed the chassis, the whole, and the tracks. But I'm waiting for the turret. I'm actually going to get some putty and try and do some casting, make it look like it's a casted turret.
Oh, that'd be nice.
So yeah, I'm sort of holding back a bit on that. Obviously, we've got a bit of time before Stalingrad, so I just want to try out this technique, and I'll probably do it with all my tanks in the next army.
Yeah.
So yeah, a bit more of a modelling sort of side of things. Waiting for that. Yeah, and just testing out various things with the airbrush. I finished the generals this week, Korokov and Timoshenko.
Yeah.
So they're in the box ready to be captains or majors on a bolt action game.
Yeah, exactly.
I airbrushed them as a base coat. Just they were my first ones, just to once again test out how thin it is and smooth.
Easier to use a spray, to use an airbrush to undercoat rather than to use as a spray can.
Depends. It's handy for getting in small places,
Yeah.
getting pinpoint precision. You can definitely prime quicker with a rattle can. There's no
Especially
doubt.
batches.
Yeah, batches. There's no doubt about that. If you're doing a single mini, it's not too bad. It's about the same. But with an airbrush, you can choose. You can put that thin coat of primer down, and then you can just wax straight on. With your next color, and it's going to be smooth like butter.
Yeah.
And you can blend it up, and there's just so many different patterns and things you can do. Because you can start off with like a yellow undertone, or you can go pink, then put a yellow over it, gives it a really nice, bright yellow and vibrant yellow. It's really weird that I saw that on Goobertown Hobbies. I tried it out.
Yeah.
I did try that out with a bit of plain plastic. I put a pink through the airbrush, and I put a yellow underneath it. Like what is it, Flash Gits yellow, really bright yellow, and I mean it pops like anything with a pink undertone.
Yeah.
It's so strange. You wouldn't think that, but it does. But with the airbrush, it's just so smooth. That's the thing. It just makes everything smooth.
Yeah, and I want to try out Zenithal Hoylehound with this other marine I've got. So I'm going to give that a go.
Do you know about that, Dom, Zenithal highlighting? Do you know what that is?
I've heard about it, but I've no idea, mate.
I'll probably cock it up.
So basically, you prime the mini black, yeah?
Yeah.
So all over black. Sorry, I'm going to sneeze. Oh, excuse me, hay fever. No, don't say that. Oh, but yeah, you prime it black, and then you go over white over the top, not over the whole thing. You do it at an angle like where the sun would be. So all underneath.
Oh, I did see someone doing this on a video. Yeah.
So all underneath. So it's pre-shaded when you then go over with your next coat.
Got you.
Also for tanks, what you can do is you can pick out panels. So you spray the whole thing black, and you pick out panels with white. And then when you go over with your color, you'll get a natural black to white, like different color transition. So it will look like paint fade. So it's natural shadowing. So you don't need to put a wash all over the mini, just in the recesses. So you end up with a really smooth coat.
See, I didn't quite do it that way, but I've done with this. I did a dark green, olive green in the just all over basically. But I left the middle panel with the grey. So, and then I went over that with a khaki and a green, so it's lighter.
Yeah.
So it's panel highlighting, so there's a bit darker on the edges, and then I don't have to wash it because you don't really want to wash over the whole model.
If you ever just a quick tip, if you ever do wash a vehicle, so like you've got Nuln Oil or you've got the Army paint to wash, thin it down with a medium.
Yeah.
Because you'll get the same dark effect, but it will be smoother. and you won't get the
Yeah.
pools of washes.
Well, I'm probably going to only recess
Recess
shade
wash
that
it,
anyway.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
wash it. So I'm not going to go. I don't want to cover it up that I've done that. It's not perfect, but it's a first attempt, and it'll be covered with a white wash anyway because it's going to be sort of
Gonna be winter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, precisely. But it's nice. It's practice, isn't it, Liam? You don't need.
It is.
It's just practice, and that's the thing with an airbrush is it's all about practice. Like a year. I don't know how long I've had mine. About a year, Liam. Would you say? Maybe just under.
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
I would never have thought to start picking out colours and stuff with airbrushes, and the only reason I didn't pick out this shield with the white is because I haven't got any of the white that I actually want to use, which is the Liquitex white, because white for an airbrush can be a bit of a nightmare. You want to get a
But
decent...
then again, yellow, which I always found a pig to paint, that was one coat with the airbrush, and I was happy with that coverage.
Exactly. Red that you hate, Dom.
So some colours are really good through it, and others.
Well, they're good. No, you just got to find the right paint. So
I'd say all
I
of them,
see.
apart from white. White can be tricky. You've really got to get like a really smooth. It's the same as when you paint it, though, isn't it? Like you try and put white
white
scar
can be
on a
tricky to
grey, it
construct,
just
can't it?
doesn't look crap. It just looks crap. Doesn't it?
there is
Really
one that
annoying.
I've seen. There is a white that I've seen recommended constantly, and it's not even a normal paint. It's an ink, so it's Liquitex. I've seen that advertised, well, everywhere. People were swearing by it on YouTube.
It's
but
just an artist ink, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an
It's the
artist
same
ink.
with who's that?
You
People
had
that
it.
make the oil paints you mentioned earlier. Can't remember they are. Down in
Watson
Rowley.
Brown.
Yeah, they do a
Watson
range of
Brown?
inks, white inks, don't they?
Yeah, so
Okay,
it'd be the
cool.
same, but that's it. Well,
Good stuff.
yeah.
Oh, so we've got a few new. We've got BJ Conan is in the house, so welcome. We've also got who we got here? Battle Bunker Blog. That's Lee. Welcome, mate. Also, Eccentric Man's in the house. Hey, Ken, how you doing, mate? Good to see you. He says, done with tanks, but my airbrush skills are still not so good. Yeah.
It is
They're
practice,
trying to
practice,
work on me to
practice.
get an airbrush. I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced I'll get the full use out of it. I really don't. I keep saying that, and then I buy another bloody army where I need another tank. And I think, an airbrush is so easy.
But it's handy for doing
but
it's handy for doing your infantry as well, Dom. If you've got 40 infantry and you can't get hold of a spray can that's that colour khaki you want, you can just use the khaki paint.
And I'm gonna if Zenithal practice goes well on this marine, I am gonna try it on the 8th army that I get. I'm gonna try a white, just a black at the bottom and then a white on top.
Yeah.
And just see how it turns out, and it will just be one thin coat of the khaki over the top, or the sandy colour over the top, and it should hopefully, if I do it well, it should be darker at the bottom, going up to the lighter tone at the top.
Yeah,
hopefully
progressively up.
Yeah.
I can see the logic, and I see. I mean, that's the thing. I see people doing them see some videos. I see people using them, and I just think they just look so awesome. But I'm just not quite sure I've got the skill set to do it.
I haven't got much confidence with it at the moment, and I'm thinking if I don't get along with it, then I probably will resell it. But it's something that I want to try, and really give a go at all the techniques to see if it's something that will work for me. But
it convinced you when you saw a tank get painted in less than 15 minutes, didn't it?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, one of my friends did a tiger in 15 minutes with camo, and I was just like, that was amazing. And it was a really good camo. I mean, he's used it a lot. He does a lot of the Infinity miniatures with airbrush. They've got like a special, like a really cool looking book which gives you all the details of how to airbrush just 28mm inventory figures, and they get some effects out of that. It looks beautiful. So he's had a lot of practice. I think that's what the key is to airbrush. I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Lots of practice.
Steve says the woman that lives in the apartment below his is a massive fan of his airbrush.
Yeah, my floor vibrates.
I bet. Yeah, that's the other thing. The noise of the stuff is just.
You want one with a tank because then the compressor's not constantly going.
It's been very handy.
Yeah, because you were going to get one without a tank, weren't you, originally?
Yeah, and I got carried away airbrushing the other night. It was like 12 o'clock, and I was thinking, I wonder if next door can feel the floor vibrate.
Liam was
dear.
that guy. Oh, Leslie's put here. So why buy GW paints in the first place? Well, to be fair, I bought a load of GW paints because I didn't know any better back then when I first joined the hobby. And what else he put? Ken, you need to visit a good art graphic supply shop. Yes, I do. I will do when the lockdown's over and they're all open again. Hopefully not too long.
That's what I'm making. Right? These things here. I don't think I talked about these last week. This Gripping Beast.
Yeah, you did.
Late Roman cataphract sent them to me.
Oh, nice.
I have to say they're a frigging nightmare.
Are they?
They must have the thickest these sprues. I mean, I nearly have my finger off. You know, I've got clippers, I've got blades. I'm trying to get the bloody things off there. Then I think I've got it, and I bend it, and then the horse looks like he's about to snap in half. Then put them together is a bitch. They're cheap, but they're just not worth it. I mean, I have to say, I'm giving a scoop on the video I'll do on it. They probably won't send me anything again, but it's like, oh my god!
You get
22 quid for 12 cavalry, but I'm going to be honest. Then I don't think they're worth it.
No,
I really don't. They're just not worth it at all. But I'm going to persist.
It's not good when you don't have fun building it, especially because I really enjoyed building as well. So it must be bad if you can't enjoy building.
Hate the building of figures generally, and this is just trying my patience. Not as bad as last week's bloody Romans. Now they were.
He did Romans last week, Liam.
Oh, jealous.
Yeah, dude. Dom's not. Dom's glad.
Yeah.
He hates Romans.
I was only making, I was getting through the backlog, so I thought I'd get rid of them, paint them up, and sell them just to get them out the door. Because infamy's on the way, and I thought people might buy them. But they're so fucking horrible figures. Excuse my French. Oh no, we're adult channels. Okay,
it's fine.
Fucking awful figures. Really are. Really horrible. So they're half done, and I still might end up just sweeping them into the bin.
Yeah.
Jesus, they're terrible.
Oh, I finished the Partisans this week as well, didn't I?
Yeah, Liam finished the part.
Good stuff.
Yeah, he's done them.
I want some more now, though. That's the problem. And I was supposed to have finished the Soviets about three months ago.
Well, actually, you're meant to finish from about a year ago, Liam. But there we go. I won't mention that. But yeah,
can't stop.
No, you can't. That's your problem. You just can't stop.
You've just got so much in the range.
Once you get to that commissar, you just can't stop. That's the problem. Oh dear, but
you cannot stop. So
Leslie
said I need to take
Rich
Clark's advice and go with the Foundry Romans. Plastic hit the bin early on. Yeah. Do you know what? I am a big advocate of metal. The only thing is, and it's a shame Steve's not on the thing because he's a huge kit basher and converter of figures. It's much harder to do metals, isn't it? And even though I don't do much of that, just that variation you get with plastics is something.
Yeah.
But I would much rather have metals every time. Give me metals every single time. Really would.
Depends what it is for me. Does depend what it is, but yeah. I'll tell you one thing though. I forgot because some people might be on here for a reason. I said I've got a bit of news to share. I will share it during the stream. I haven't forgotten. I'll share it at 9 o'clock. Well, I've got some news. Liam knows what it is.
Tease! What a tease!
Liam knows what it is, but you don't, Dom.
Do I?
Yeah. I said it. Yeah, of course you do. You bet. You agree?
So turning into a tomato full time. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, full time tomato.
Jesus Christ, no.
Ooh, now that's teasing, isn't it? That's really teasing.
So you've got to stick around for another 20 minutes.
Lee says he's sat in the garden after a weekend of nights with a cider. Good for you, mate.
Oh,
Good
yeah.
for you.
Jealous.
I saw Paul was on doing his video earlier on today in response to old Johnny Watson's thing about what you'd like and dislike in the hobby, which actually was a subject for tonight. We'll have to get onto.
Yeah.
We'll
get on it after you've spoken
he was
about
sitting
this.
in the garden.
Yeah.
So it's like, what the hell? Wow. So I'm just sitting in a hot room with a beer. That's all. It's all good. All good in the world. But it was my birthday.
Yes, it was.
Keep doing that one. So what are we going to say? Yeah. Completely derailed now.
Should we crack on? It's been 40 minutes. Let's crack on.
So, well, let's start with that one then. So, that whole thing, there's been a round robin going around that Johnny Watson started on his channel, and asking the community what things they like about the hobby. And I've been sitting down to do this a few times, but each time I watch somebody else's and they all pick the ones I was going to do. So I thought I'd do it tonight instead. So go on then, Liam, you start. Give us a couple of things you love and a couple of things you're not so keen on about the hobby. You can give more if you like, but don't go too many negatives because
be very careful, Liam. Be very careful.
What's that?
And we can always mute. We can always
could be
Ken.
watching.
What the? Oh no! I thought you were going to say the shame. The shame.
Yeah.
No, the shame's part of it, isn't it? I think that's part of it. I enjoy. In fact, I wish I had a bigger pile of shame at the moment. Really, it's terrible. Yeah, I mean, I do like kit bashing now and again. I mean, I don't do it as often as I should. But yeah, I do like a kit bash. I do like the building side of things. The painting for me is the hard bit. But once I get into it, you get into these little lulls, don't you, in the hobby where you can't stand the idea of picking a brush up sometimes. You just need to take a break from it. Or what my alternative is make sure you got some variety on the painting table, so you can put down the vehicles. If you've been doing them for ages and you feel like you're making a mess of it, you can pick something else up and have a go at it. But yeah, I think as well projects as well. I think that's always helpful to get you through it. Them sort of times, just set yourself a goal of like a small amount of inventory or a platoon, not a platoon, it's like a rifle section or something.
Well, like achievable goals.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, things like in Partisan Group, I literally had them built with the 2 generals, and I was like, just these 10 models are what I want to get done this week, and I'll be happy. And then I ended up doing a little bit more actually. So, and some playing around. I think
it's a really good tip for a lot of newer players and newer, bigger people and people painting and stuff. Is just make it a bit more manageable. When you sit down and see 200 figures in front of you, or what you've got, massive box of figures or what have you, you think, little snigger from Ken. Then it's kind of a bit daunting, isn't it? You kind of
the classic GW box sets.
6 or 8, yeah.
The classic GW box sets are some of the worst offenders for that. They'll splash tons of really complicated fantasy miniatures on you, or the battle forces at Christmas where you spend £100. You've got 50 odd models that are really complicated to paint, and if you're a newbie, you think, oh, that's great value, that's a good way of getting in, and then it just hits you like a brick wall.
You're like,
and you think you're just overwhelmed.
Yeah, what have I let myself into, sort of thing. And you're like, you just put yourself up on. I'll do those next week, or I'll start that in a couple of weeks. But I fancy doing this first.
Having a bit of variety and a bit of like you say, just sort of a small number of troops makes a huge difference. I think it just makes it more manageable. That's why I just swap around so much in my painting. I just do a few 8 or 9 and then just move on to something else, and then come back and do something else, and it just helps that flow,
Yeah.
Sorry, I hijacked your Liam. Go on.
I think the one that I've done of that sort of scale probably is the Battle Sisters release that they had, and I managed to do that in a month, which I was just astounded by. GW sort of miniatures managed to do them all in a month. That was quite a
well, you did that.
That's quite a good achievement. Not that I've actually used them since, but
no, but you did your Russian army as well, didn't you, for bolt action? You did that.
Oh yeah.
You but then that out.
World War II miniatures are a little bit more manageable, aren't they?
Yeah, they are much easier to do.
but they can, especially the 40k stuff and the GW stuff can just be overwhelming, especially for new players. That's why I think bolt action is the perfect, sort of entry game now, really, like to wargaming. I've had 2 friends since us joining this. I've got them out onto miniatures that they weren't previously into. So
That's it.
No, I think that's a good idea. Yeah. Hey, Nick. Good to see you. Sorry, you can't stop, mate. See you again.
Oh, is he? Gotta go.
He's
Yeah, I'd
just
say
popped in
that's
to
it.
say hi and he's gone again. Sorry,
I'll try and think of more later. But
all right.
yeah. See what Ken
What
thinks.
about you, Dwarfmeister over there? What's good
what
and bad for you?
Good and bad, yeah.
Yeah. Give us a couple of goods, a couple of bads, whichever way you want.
Stress relief. I used to, for me, it's very much a stress relief. I can have a shit day at work, or things not going good way, and come on the painting table, and it turns into meditation for me, because once I'm sat here, or I don't normally have my headphones on, because I have it playing out of a speaker or something like that, or sometimes I might have them on because the other half's downstairs and I can't hear her or something like that. But it's a meditation thing, so that's a positive. I just really enjoy it. It's just my hobby. It's some people have fishing, some people play video games. I used to play video games. I don't touch them anymore now. I do this. It's crazy, isn't it? I used to play video games all the time. Occasionally we'll play something, but that's the problem. I find if I play video games, I won't get any painting done for a few days or a week, because I'll binge the video games and then I want to paint again. If I don't pick a paintbrush up a day, it's a weird day for me. I paint every day, every single day. It's definitely one.
What don't you like?
Wait until you get kids. You wait.
Pass, Liam. I pass on that.
Yeah, right.
And
you do.
Yeah. But yeah, honestly, the things I don't like, the cost. It costs a fucking lot of money to have this many miniatures. When I did my original clear out, I worked it out. I had like $1.5 grand worth of minis just sitting there. I was like, oh my god. And I'm sure there are people with bigger piles of shame than I had. By far.
Don't know who you mean.
Or like a garage full.
Yeah, but you probably bought them back in the 80s, Dom.
They're vintage, mate.
Yeah, exactly. So you only paid like 50p for them. It's fine. You didn't get ripped off with the new Games Workshop pricing structure.
You know the plastic ain't dissolved in the box. You can open them and not have so much plastic.
Oh, do you know what?
Plastic never goes off, mate. I'll tell you that.
No, but do you know what pissed me off though is if you open a box that you've had for 25 years, look forward to painting it, and you open it and the fucking model's the wrong one.
Yeah. Now, I have done that, actually. I have done that. I can't remember which the model was now, but I do remember that. I had a figure a box of figures, and it was just sitting there for ages, and I thought, right, get around to doing that, get around and opened it up, and there was a piece missing. There's something really vital missing. Like it was, I think it was like it was an 80. It wouldn't have been an 88. I think it was one of those Italian truck-borne guns, anti-tank guns, and everything was there. Crew were there, everything else, apart from the bloody gun barrel. It's like, oh my god!
I bet if they're still in business, they probably will replace it.
Yeah, it depends if they still make it, doesn't it? That's the problem.
Yeah,
that's the big problem. But also the other thing is, I've got to admit, right, when I started this hobby out, it's bloody daunting, because there wasn't really much instruction of what to do. I know it seems straightforward now, we've been doing it for years, but like I had to rely on Liam a lot, because I would have to ask him questions and all that sort of things. I didn't really find somewhere that was really a noob friendly environment. The only thing that I did find originally was the channel that was Tabletop Minions. He does a lot of videos based towards new players, but it's like Leslie said earlier, he asked why I bought the Games Workshop paints, because I thought that's what you did. I thought you got Games Workshop models and you use the colours that they said to go on your miniatures. Because I thought that's how it works.
Yeah.
Because no one told me any different. I didn't know any different.
Hey.
Well, let's be honest. You used GW paints, didn't you? It was only when we started doing World War II we started using Vallejo, wasn't it?
Yeah. I suppose, yeah. But this is the thing, isn't it? You go to them, and
That's
that's
it.
what you see.
That's it. That's
I
precisely
always
it.
saw these conversion charts online, and I thought, is there any point in getting the other paints? But I didn't. I've just never tried it. And
No, this is it. But this is what I mean. You don't know, and yeah, definitely the cost thing. I think 40k is definitely not the way to get into the hobby anymore. May used to have been, but it isn't now because it just costs too much money, and a lot of people like playing a 2,000 point game, don't they? When you talk that sort of thing.
well, that is it. Yeah,
That's it. That's the penultimate. It's a 2,000 point game, and you're looking at, depending on what army you've got, you're looking at 80 to 100 models. And to paint all those. Yeah, go on.
The new Scutari box set that they've just released is 60 quid for a troop choice and a transport. So in a standard detachment, you need 3 of them to have your troop slots filled up, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So that's you're talking 180 quid just on miniatures. Then you got to get your paints on top of that, which are £3.20 a pot, whatever they are. It's just
the thing
mad,
is,
isn't it?
The thing is, even if you like your sci-fi, I would still
There's
say,
other things.
there's so many other companies, and I just wish there was some website. I'm sure there probably is somewhere where you could go as a new miniature enthusiast, because that's what we are. We're miniature enthusiasts, and go there, and everything points you in a direction for where's the best value starter kit. Oh, if you like this type of game, here's your best value for that. It'd be nice to have a website based on that, wouldn't it? Like, I hear Star Wars Legion's pretty good for a starter set. I hear that's I've heard that's pretty good. And you think that's quite a straightforward paint scheme if you get Stormtroopers, isn't it? It's a white, and it's really
That's an idea for a video.
Yeah.
Best starter games. I think
bolt action.
I agree with you.
Bolt action would be in there, but the problem is I don't like that Band of Brothers starter set. It's not something that I like. It's not. I don't think it's great value for money. In all honesty with you, I really don't.
What, even when you beat me on that first ever game on that table?
I don't. Just to start, unless you're playing Germans or Americans, there's no point. Their actual army boxes. Now that's a different story. If they did their army boxes,
they've got a lot of fillers in those big bonds, haven't they?
Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff in there that if you were building an army, you wouldn't necessarily have, but they're just there because they're inexpensive. Option.
Yeah, but they give you that 2,000 points on the side of the box. They tell you what it is, or 1,000 points on the side of the box. They tell you everything what it is. You get enough to fill each slot out, and I don't think it's too overwhelming because the infantry is the worst part. But painting 30 of the small guys is pretty quick. It can be pretty quick. But if they did their army boxes with like a soft cover A5 rulebook for, like, if they either included it, or you paid like an extra £10 or £5 to have that rulebook, so you get it at a discount, maybe 50% off the normal second edition rules, I think that would be much better.
Thing is, there's nothing stopping them guys like just doing several box sets, like an Eastern Front box set, so you got more options with that.
Yeah, so you could go. Yeah, you could go. Well, they could do. Yeah, they could do one with all theaters, couldn't they?
Yeah, they could do a Russian front, North Africa front,
Pacific. They have got the LR main box set. That's another box set they do, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's not. It doesn't come with a rule book.
Yeah.
That's the problem. If they're
that's quite expensive though, isn't it? Isn't it like Stalingrad price? It's quite pricey.
Yeah, it's 20. No, it's 25 quid. The A4 hardcover. But if you get the soft cover, it is a bit cheaper. But yeah, I definitely would recommend probably getting an army box, or even depending on how adventurous you want to be, is just get a normal box of infantry plus one of their support sections. If you don't want to play with a tank, just to have smaller games at start, because bolt action works with just like two squads and a platoon leader, doesn't it? It does work like that.
Yeah, you could actually good fun.
Some ways those 500 point armies are better anyway. They're almost more fun somehow.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I mean. Because you haven't got everything clogging the table up, have you?
It surprises me. Price is one of your negatives.
Yeah,
it doesn't seem to put you off normally.
No, because I'm quite lucky where to have you know, I don't have any kids, so I've got a bit of money lying about. But
Yeah.
I can imagine, you know, if you're struggling to make some money or you don't have a lot left at the end of the month, especially if you're going into 40k.
It
Jesus.
depends as well, doesn't it? I've got a lot of hobbies. You know, I still do quite a bit of gaming, and I've got other things, hot tubs.
Yeah, hot
Um,
tubs, yeah.
so my time is split. So when I only really spend up, about 50 quid a month on a normal sort of thing on my hobby
Yeah.
for this, and then obviously I've got to factor in games as well. So sometimes it'll be a game, sometimes it'll be minis, and obviously 50 quid. I can't really go out and buy a box set normally, for that sort of
No, no.
pocket money. And let alone that's me, with a job,
Yeah,
with
exactly.
split things, so
And it's not like
yeah,
it's
it's a
not
bit,
like we've got really bad jobs either, which is the other thing. And, you know, it costs to get started is quite a thing in this hobby, isn't it? To actually get started with a paint set and things, unless you're in the know, you can definitely be sucked into, you know, getting paints that you may only ever use once.
yeah,
It's probably better to get like a variety of paints, like your main color wheel paints. You know,
yeah,
I think Vallejo actually do like just a basic set of
they do, yeah,
16 colors that, you know, you can mix up dark and make dark greens and stuff like that, different browns and but
Although
yeah,
Duncan makes a good point in the chat. He says he's only recently gotten back into wargaming, and working through the Bolt Action starter set has been ideal to help me pace myself with painting. And I guess that's true to a
yeah,
degree. I guess that's true.
definitely,
I can see the logic of that for sure. But I agree with you. I mean, you can spend an awful lot of money, but I do think generally it's the historical side is definitely less expensive than the fantasy side.
oh, 100%.
It's funny.
But then it depends
Peter
on what
said
minis.
here.
No. I would say that's wrong because the historical side is cheaper than Games Workshop, but you get other fantasy companies that are quite cheap, and like other sci-fi stuff that is quite cheap. It just seems to be Games Workshop for some reason.
I always think
Yeah, look
I
at
think
Warlord.
fantasy stuff generally is more expensive. I really do. I mean, I wander around and because I don't buy much of it, obviously.
Yeah.
But when
For
I go
now,
around trade shows and stuff, and I look at the for now, and I look at because I often go around trade shows and I try and pick up the odd little figure or two just to mix in with a war band, some sort of warrior that would fit in say a Viking war band that would just be a little bit different, something or be a champion or something like that for something. And the number of times you pick a figure up and you go, oh, that's really nice, and how much is that? Oh, £7.50 for one figure? Got to be kidding. Whereas you buy a figure from most of the historical manufacturers, and it'll be maybe 250 a figure,
yeah.
maybe if you're
It
splashing
all
out.
depends on what the actual figure you've picked up's job is in Warhammer. Because if you've picked up
Mm,
an Orc War Boss, even though it's one figure, they're going to charge you more money for it
mm,
because of the role it plays within the game.
got you.
Because people are less likely to buy multiples of that one figure. But if you picked up, I've seen in shows, like you've got your orcs, you like your spearmen, yeah. I've seen like packs of
Mm.
them for like 8 of them for like £5 because you need shitloads of them. There's 8 different sculpts and they're a
That's
fiver.
true. There is the quantity thing. Yeah, there is the quantity thing. I mean, certainly if you're going to buy a Napoleonic army or something ancient army where you're fighting a big battle, you need a hell of a lot of figures, and
Oh
it can
yeah,
be quite expensive.
oh yeah,
But
definitely.
and I think that the fantasy stuff generally, because they have a lot of, I mean, we were talking about earlier the Mantic stuff and the Oath Mark stuff, plastic box sets.
Yeah,
25 was it? Oath Marks 25 quid for 30 models or something, and
yeah.
it's not a bad price.
Well, that
I
King's
mean,
of
these
King's of War set, isn't it?
artifacts.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
exactly. It's
That's
not a
an
bad
army.
price really for what you
It's
get.
an army in a box, isn't it? So
Mm.
it's a good. It is a decent price, you know. Um,
So I'm
but
talking against myself there.
no, I'm just no. It's just a bit of give and take when you think because, like you say, I gotta admit the only thing I find expensive, and I'm not gonna lie, the only thing I find expensive with wargaming is the tanks. They're 20 quid a pop just for a tank, one model. Now, some people might argue against that and say it's a bloody rip-off because it just depends, doesn't it? You don't need shitloads of them. If you needed loads, so like I could imagine in Flames of War, their tanks at 15 mil scale, you could probably buy maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 of them for, I don't know, 20 quid. People in the chat will probably know below and probably shouting at me right now, going, "What are you on about? They're like 55 quid or something." But I'd imagine they are cheaper because that game you need a lot of them. I do think it's definitely
It
based.
feels like to me. It feels like to me. Sorry, the whole kind of price of figures, and we've moved off completely off the likes and dislikes.
Yeah.
But some of the guys were just chatting in the chat here about in the old days, and if you go back to the 70s and the 80s before you lot were even a
Thought about.
whisper in people's eyes, the figures were pretty expensive. You were joking earlier about them being cheaper figures. I've had them for years. They actually were a lot, and I remember as a kid, going down and saving up my pennies to go and buy a couple of Hinchcliffe cavalry, and the quality of them was pretty crap, to be honest. I mean, certainly compared to today's figures, but they were expensive, really expensive to buy a unit. And I remember seeing, and in those days, mostly people played big battles.
Yeah.
So you'd go down to the club and it'd be 2,000 Napoleonic 28mm figures, or 25mm as they were, there spread across the table. And it's like, as a kid looking at it, you go, I couldn't hope, maybe by the end of the year, I might be able to afford one cavalry regiment, or one, squadron of cavalry or what have you. So they were expensive, and certainly the price came down considerably with the advent of plastic figures and resin figures. I mean, and even the metals dropped in comparison a lot. And then I think they've obviously found a way to do metals a lot cheaper. Actually, it's a shame Leon's not on because he knows a lot about the production process, doesn't he, on the whole thing? But the lead and metal got cheaper, which had that corresponding effect of the sort of rubber metal that I hate so much, that uses pins like Filio, but it's cheap, and that's kind of good. Not the bending, but the price. So definitely there was a price. But I feel lately, in the last couple of years, maybe prices have gone back up again. The plastics are still there. You've got a lot of cheaper plastic that maybe isn't quite as well sculpted as some other ones.
I think popularity is driving it as well, Dom. I think popularity is driving it.
Yeah.
People are new to the hobby and don't know what to expect price wise. Someone that joins now will think this is the normal price range.
Right.
I think as well.
Do you think that's what it is? More and more people coming into the hobby. I mean, that's kind of a good thing.
Yeah, it's like with GW, isn't it? They're very. I seem like I'm slating GW at the minute, but they're a big company now, aren't they? They're on the stock market. They've got to please their shareholders.
Oh, they got shareholders, exactly. They've got to make money, and they've got to make money.
And if a bean counters turn around and told them, "Oh, if you put this up by 5%, we can see a profit margin of so and so, and that's going to help you hit your targets for your end of year." Do you know what I mean? They're not the company they once were. No company is when it gets that big. It just isn't. You can't run it like that. It just wouldn't work.
No.
Agreed. But it's the sad thing. But that's why we went to Mantic, didn't we, when we were up there, Liam, when we were in Nottingham?
Yeah.
It was quite nice, I was expecting maybe something a little bit bigger than what we went and saw, but it's when you think about it, it's probably just the same with Warlord. You'd expect Warlord to have a massive shop and warehouse. It's not. It's just a normal sized shop, and because they're still run. They just feel like they've not. It's not a family business, obviously. It's a partnership business, isn't it? Mates, friends that are still in it because they not saying that Games Workshop people, not saying they don't love the hobby, but they've got so big now where the hobby has to take a back seat. It's more about the profits and keeping your shareholders happy.
Well, I mean, once you launch on the stock market, you're in a whole different league, aren't you? I mean, you have a responsibility to the shareholders and the kind of gaming community that you probably started up serving. I mean, it's the same with any business, right? They start as a small, generally somebody's got a great idea or some particular passion about something, and as it grows, they sort of they have to grow with it, and the business changes, and the model that they're going forward changes, and everything else. And it's
Yeah,
just the way of
precisely.
things. But it's not necessarily a bad thing, and I don't have a problem with GW kind of making money, and good luck to them.
Yeah.
But I just look at some of the prices and I think, oh my god,
No, they are.
that's extraordinary.
Yeah, and I'm
All
sorry,
that
where they
stuff.
can mass produce things as well, it doesn't cost that much to make compared to a small manufacturer. I
No.
don't care what they say. No way.
No, and the bit I find really frustrating with all that, and this gets on to probably one of my dislikes in the whole thing, is this sort of dictatorial process that people like GW have, where you've got to use these manufacturer, you've got to use this figure. Once it's out, once a new system comes out, you've got to get rid of that one, and you've got to get this figure because that's what we say. And it's like, bullshit, I'm not going to do that. I'm still using figures that I had from the 70s.
Yeah,
Not many,
I
to be true.
quite like it because it's memories, isn't it? It's nostalgia, and that's what I mean.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, it's
agreed.
you've probably seen it, haven't you, Liam, with Games Workshop, because you started when you were quite young with it, weren't you? So
Oh,
so
yeah.
if you went in a GW store when you were younger to where if you went in one now, do you feel like there's a different atmosphere?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, when I first went there, you went in there and you just talk about the hobby really a lot of the time. You wouldn't even speak about buying. But now it's like, as soon as they see you, it's like, yep, right, jump on them. And to be fair, like them guys have got targets as well, aren't they, in the shop, and they do a great job. So they got a good reward this year
Yeah.
for it, didn't they? Good
Yeah,
bonus, which they deserve.
exactly.
But for someone that's, I know what I was doing most of the time going in there. I knew what I wanted. I didn't need the sales pitch, but they've obviously got to do it because they're trying to
part of
get
their
in
role, yeah.
new boots on the ground,
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's
it's
it.
fair play. But let's say, are they doing a bit for the hobby? Probably to get more people in. They probably are, but
Yeah. Well, the thing is,
Good point, isn't it? I mean, they can't make money and encourage people in.
No.
That's for sure. But it's just the degree of how much. I've always been slightly skeptical about how many people do cross over from GW into other forms of the hobby.
I think you find quite a lot at the minute.
GW's model is.
yeah. Well,
do you think so?
I used to go to GW Direct, and then like little hobby shops I used to go to started to get more ranges in, not just GW. They had all sorts. There was one that it'd been there for years, but I never really went in there because he was a bit of hard sell, and he had loads of vintage stuff in there. It didn't really
I know
appeal. But
I know where you were talking about.
the newer ones, like there's a new one down there, and they're all just, some of them are ex GW employees. They've sort of all banded together and open a shop, and it's a really nice atmosphere in there. You can go in there to game, cheap tables to rent.
Well, we've been in there a few times, haven't we? Where you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, they've got all sorts in there, and then that opens up the whole hobby. They do. I went in there for GW to play, and then Bolt Action's in there.
Star Wars in there,
Walking Dead, Star Wars, yep.
Loads.
D&D miniatures, which then obviously that's exploded, and I was like, oh yeah, I used to play that, so get back into that as well.
But then you'll stand and have a conversation with him for 15 minutes about D&D. He'll tell you what's going on with it. It's nice.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. I would love to open a shop like that. It would be the dream.
It is.
It would be great to have. I mean, a good hobby shop is just superb, isn't it? When you walk in and everyone, it's like the old Cheers. Everyone knows your name. For those older who remember that series, it's
done a few pub quizzes for that as an answer.
Yeah.
Classic TV. Classic TV.
That's the dream. It's the dream, though, isn't it? You never know. It could become a reality.
You never know. And I think the thing is, it's really hard to make money, right? For those sort of shops, it's really hard for them to survive. And
it's about having an online presence now, Dom, isn't it?
I know, yes. Yeah, no, well, exactly. And many, actually, some time ago, I did contact Warlords about setting up a sort of online thing. It was something I was sort of tinkering with the idea of doing, and you could make a reasonable living out of it if you can keep your costs down. But you need a lot of space.
Been there, Dom.
I haven't got enough. What worried me, to be honest, was I'd end up playing with a stock. That would be the problem. I'm going, oh, bloody hell, that's no good.
Well,
Oh
Yeah.
dear.
yeah, we didn't look into
never
that
mind.
at all,
So
did
what
we,
we
Liam?
No, definitely not. My
I'm
attic can
aware
only
of this
hold
in
so
the chat.
much.
Yeah.
So we've got who have we got in the house? Chris Packham is here. Oh, sorry, Packer is here, not
I was
Packham.
going to say,
He's the guy from,
he's presenter.
It should
That,
be purple.
yeah.
Chris Packer. Oh dear, Paul Richardson. Hi, Paul. How you doing, mate? I was talking about your videos earlier. You got me to have a beer because you were having your beer and yours. So there you go.
Yeah.
Leon says
Get-
he's going to try and join next week, so that'd be good if he can.
Fantastic.
Yeah, lots of other people. Lots of discussion about the GW model and how they do
Yeah,
things.
Leslie here said,
I'm not going to knock them.
Oh
That's
no,
for
no, no,
sure.
no, definitely not. It's not a knock. They do a lot of fantastic things for the hobby, and the guys, we can shout our local Jank Games Workshop, the one in Portsmouth. They're really nice people in there. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? They are really, really nice people. And I tell you what, if you don't know how to play Warhammer and you walk in there the first time, they will take you from start to finish. They will explain everything to you, and they will spend as much time with you as you need. Because that's what I was doing when I used to go in there when I first started, and they helped so much.
yeah,
And look, that is one thing they are good at.
yeah, definitely.
100%.
I agree with you there, definitely. Although I do love the puzzled expression on your face when on their faces when you walk in and they leap on you and go, "So what are you working on?" And you go, "Well, I'm working on an early successor phalangite formation." And they go,
Yeah.
"What's that?" Occasionally you get somebody go, "Oh yeah, somebody was in here the other day was painting up some Numidians and they know what you're talking about," which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
Which I kind of like that, but they are useful. I mean, they're useful to paints if nothing else. Spray cans. Oh, that's why. I just like wandering in them to have a look at what's going on.
I'll
I'm not
always
gonna ignore them at all.
I'll always wander in a hobby shop. Always. I just have a browse. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? 'Cause
So-
you never know what gems you might find.
Leslie's
Agreed.
put here, Ken, the problem now is small modelling shops have disappeared. They're
We're quite-
usually
Yeah,
newer
we're quite
clubs.
lucky. We're quite lucky, aren't we, Liam, around here?
We are spoiled actually. I
We've
think.
got-
I think that's the problem.
I've got one, two. How many we got? 1, 2, 3,
I wonder
4,
whether he refers to like
5.
the old school model shops, like Wicker Models and stuff like that.
We're
That's
still
one.
spoiled,
That's,
aren't we? We're still spoiled. We got
Yeah.
3 of those. Got 3 shops like that, or 4.
I used to have model shops where you could buy the aircraft models and the tank models and the proper, even down to the
Yeah.
Yeah, we got
automatic
trains and all that. We got a couple of those.
stuff, and then there are also a few, wargamey type shops. They've all gone. I think I've got one near me now.
That's
Who
crazy.
just does D&D and fantasy and board games pretty much. But you can get paints and what, and they're a friendly bunch, but they don't do. I think I bought all their remaining bolt action stuff when they sold it off, to be honest.
Yeah.
But they're independent, so yeah, there's really nothing around my way at all. It's very odd.
Sad, isn't it? That is.
Yeah. Well, our guys are.
Yeah, it is.
Well, our guy down in Portsmouth, isn't he? He's online as well. Liam got same day delivery, didn't you?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I didn't realise they were doing it. I feel really bad because I've been ordering stuff from all over the place.
Yeah.
Obviously, you got delays on that as well for stock things. I had one Goblin Gaming is one of my favourite places to get things, but they were obviously backlogged with orders and weren't actually open. And I just thought, I'll leave my order there for a long time, and then I realised that this shop was actually doing online local deliveries. And their stock was actually pretty good. They were still getting deliveries somehow. I don't know where from.
Oh, even I did it click and collect, didn't I?
Yeah, so I was able to support the local business because then them guys get to open up again, and we get to go down there and game down there.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just so quick. Literally, I ordered it at 11 o'clock and I got it at 3 o'clock, something like that. So that was one paint. I just needed a spray can before the airbrush.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like. Yeah, we are lucky in that way.
Oh,
and
definitely.
then we've also got the small model shops as well. Like Wicker Models do trains, and I mean, I think they primarily do like miniature village stuff, like dolls' houses and trains and stuff like that.
But he started stocking bolt action, didn't he?
Yeah, and he stocks MIG as well, which they're quite hard to get hold of actually.
Yeah, MIG paint, yeah, Humbrol. But he does like all the train accessories, so like all the ballast and things like that. And as soon as he's open, I'm waiting for him to come back open because I need to go in there and get some bloody railway line for the Stalingrad board, because that's one reason I can't continue, because I need some track. I need some bloody track. So yeah, I'll be straight in there. I don't want to pay for it online. I'd rather go in and support him. But yeah, it's definitely one of those things. Sorry, my negative has gone on for ages, and I've just realised it's past the 9 o'clock, and I promised my announcement. So if you do, you right? If I
Yeah,
just
Leon just said you missed.
yeah,
What's her announcement?
yeah, right. So you're invited to this, Dom, as well, if you want to take part. I've spoken to some of my friends that are in my gaming group, and we've decided we're going to do, when the lockdown's over, maybe in August, we are going to do a 24-hour gaming stream for charity. So we're literally gonna stay up and play games for 24 hours. It could be Bolt Action 1 minute, it could be Warhammer the next. We might play a board games, just stuff. But we will stay up and do the 24 hours continuous. We're pretty sure I know what the charity is going to be, but I'm just going to double check that we're able to do it before I announce the charity. But yeah, we're going to do that, and it's going to be live streamed on YouTube. I'm going to set up a second YouTube account just for streaming, so you can have, because there's going to be, there could be up to 5 or 6 of us, so you can watch, say, a Bolt Action game going on, but on the other camera there might be a game of fantasy or something like that. We're going to try to do it for charity, so try and raise some money. So just thought I'd announce that. I hope people like the idea of that. And obviously, if you want to come down, Dom, for a few hours, or come down for the old 24, you're more than welcome.
Depending on when it is, I would love to, mate.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good plan.
Just get some games in, and obviously
you're going to do it physically then.
Yeah.
Get together and do it.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay,
that's
cool.
why we're going to wait till after lockdown. That's what I mean.
And then we'll be sick of gaming afterwards.
Pardon?
Leon said is it for the Leon Benevolent Fund? I said no, it's bloody not.
It's probably going to be for help for heroes, but I need to double check that we're okay to do it with them. So
I thought Ken was going to set up his own charity for a minute, but
don't be a gumbo, but
don't be a gumbo charity.
Or I'll try and look into maybe something war game charity related, but a charity along that line that's going to help people out, But yeah, I just thought people might be interested in joining it and watching it.
We're starved of games at the moment, aren't we? So,
obviously I'm actually going to kick my parents out of their house for 2 days. So
do you mean you're going to buy them a lovely night away as a birthday present?
Pretty much, yeah. So they're going to be out of the house. So we'll have a whole house to be able to do it, because I haven't got room at my house. My house is tiny. Well, not tiny, but it's tiny compared to theirs. And they've got a nice big open. It's a big open plan bungalow. So you can set up a few 6x4 tables and it'd be quite cushy. But yeah, I hope everyone likes the idea of that.
Now that is a really good idea. Douglas just said Orcs versus Dwarves, first game of the stream.
I think that has to be, doesn't it? It really has to be.
I cannot say anything to that because there is,
that is brilliant.
Yeah.
Trouble is, Ken would have to build a dwarf army for that to happen, and how is that going to happen? Jeez. I don't know. God damn it! So what else you got here?
Yeah.
Apparently, I won something on Eccentric Man's giveaway. Fantastic, good stuff.
Very nice.
I think that's a really good idea, Ken. I love it. And if I can get down for it for some or all of it, I will certainly do what I can.
That's all I'm going to show, Dom. That's all I'm going to show, Dom. That's all I'm going to show.
Oh my God! What? Dwarf! Dwarf!
One dwarf.
It's a dwarf.
That's all I'm going to show.
Such a tease.
Might happen, Duncan. You never know. You just never know.
But yeah.
What else we got here? I think it's really good. Yeah. Chris says we need sponsorship from a coffee supplier.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Oh, actually, there is a shop local, isn't there?
Yeah, there is a shop. There is a shop local.
I'll definitely be going there.
Yeah, there is a shop very local. But that's the thing, and I thought as well, I completely forgot. I'm gonna have to look up what the Guinness World Record is.
Yeah.
For the longest ever gaming session.
There might be. I think there might be one for like a large scale battle, maybe.
but not for length.
But one continuous battle. But yeah, I don't know whether multiple battles or whatever we're going to be doing gaming wise. Because we could even play some Undaunted, couldn't we, if we want some wind down, like chill out.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Table.
So it's going to be, you know, you can imagine through people are going to have highs and lows, and you know, we're all going to end up probably in the evening, towards the evening time, maybe sitting around playing a board game or something, and everyone obviously interacting with the chat and everything like that. Sorry, man, I'm so hot in here. Cooking. But everyone obviously interacting with the chat, and yeah, I just thought it'd be a really nice thing, because obviously we haven't got any gaming in for months, and it's one of those rare occasions where why not do 24 hours? How many games can we fit in 24 hours? Probably quite a few. So
Can you imagine the arguments?
Depends how long they are, doesn't it? But yeah,
no, it'd be the chat
it.
rule, wouldn't it? It'd be chat rule. So
Oh yeah.
anything we don't agree with, ask chat.
We might actually play a game properly once.
Yeah.
Once.
Good idea. That's a very good idea. Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to do it in
You
August.
could even get chat to do a few moves, couldn't you?
Yeah. Well, we're going to do it in August, is like, you know, lockdown permitting and all that sort of jazz. That's why I haven't said July, because that's a bit too soon, I think.
Oh yeah.
So August sounds about right. Probably towards the end of August as well, to be fair.
Can't be middle.
No, it'll probably be towards the end.
I'm on call and it's a certain someone's birthday.
Oh yeah, Christ!
I
need to work around.
I will die.
Yeah, you did last year, didn't you? You completely messed up. Oh, was it this year? What did you do? You forgot something, didn't you, Liam?
Oh, somehow I always end up on call on her birthday.
No, you forgot a specific date, didn't you? But it wasn't actually that date, and we had planned something.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think it was an anniversary, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Oh yeah.
Oh, going around Ken's tonight. What do you mean going? Worst thing is, Liam, she led you on and let you dig yourself in that hole.
Yeah. Of course she did. Deserved it.
Love it.
Dear. But yeah, no, it'd be great to have you, Dom. Never know, we might even get some more YouTube people involved. So
yeah, it'd be good.
If anyone is interested
if
anyone is interested, YouTube wise, and you're watching, taking part or anything like that, send me a message on the Miniature Wargame Warriors Facebook. You can PM me, and we can get a talking. Definitely.
We're on the south coast. You probably want to say that.
We're on the south coast. We're like, it would be Southampton. Would be the destination. But yeah, let us know. Let us know in the comment section below. Oh my god, I'm so hot. Right, what's what was the next question, Dom? Because we still got a bit of time.
Well, shall I answer that question for my turn? You took so bloody long to answer that. Everyone's forgotten what the question was. It was what your likes and dislikes.
Oh yeah, you disliked Dom, wasn't it?
Christ.
What would you dislike?
Like a load of amateurs. Yeah, this lot. Jeez.
I never thought I'd be called an amateur.
I forgot what mine were now. I did actually think to be fair, I think most of the people I've seen doing videos on this have covered most of mine, so I'll be quick on it. So the dislike and number one I have is bloody plastic figures. Making frigging figures up. I hate making figures.
I love it.
I just detest it. It's just one of those things that drives me absolutely insane. I do it because I have to, and because they're cheap.
I'm so happy that Kings of War box is all plastic.
Yeah, thanks for that, mate. At least they look fairly simple, or something at least.
Yeah.
You know, I'm still sitting here with this. This is that swim Jeep thing that I got from Rubicon.
Oh my god!
And I've done about half of it, and it's still half done because I kept dropping the bits. I've got fat arthritic fingers, and I hate the bloody things. They're terrible.
Get Imogen to do it for you. Get Imogen to do it for you. See if she'll make it up.
Really. Probably do a better job than I would ever do on it, to be absolutely honest. But there you go. Yeah, I might do that. Actually, it's a good call. So yeah, that's number one. Plastic figures and making up figures generally. If I can get them made up already, buy them, made up, I'll do that. I have been known to trawl eBay to find plastic figures. It's amazing how many people sell them off ready made up, unpainted, cheaper than they would cost new. Very odd. Anyway, so yeah, that's one. The other one is kind of touched on already, is around the should we call it sort of rule Nazis or system Nazis? The ones that just insist on, this is the only way to play this game, or this is, how can you play these rules because they're crap, or all that kind of stuff. I just really pisses me off. I hate all that. Like, there's rules I don't like, but I'll give them a shot. And I'm not going to say they're terrible rules. They're just not the rules I particularly like.
No, exactly.
Like SBQ, I don't like it, but I won't play it anymore. But I gave it a shot.
I bet
But I
there's some
wouldn't
people out there
badmouth
that
it.
really like it, though.
Yeah, exactly. And good on them if that's what makes them. For me, not my kind of thing. And I've been fairly vocal about it's not my thing, but I'm not going to give it a really bad. I'm not going to go around and say somebody you idiot for playing it, you fool. Why should you do that?
No.
And you do occasionally come across people a bit like that, and I hate that. Really hate it.
Yeah.
So those are my two negatives, but positives I think is the banter and the fun you have playing with toy soldiers with your mates. I just think that's just so much fun, and I extend that into the whole sort of online community, right? I mean, Ken and Liam, I've never even met you guys,
No.
but we have a right old laugh, and it's like through this channel, it's people I talk to in my chats,
Yeah.
on the videos I've never met before, and I have a right old laugh with, and it's great fun, and I love that the community there is amongst wargamers. The guys
Yeah.
when I go down when the club's running and I go down and play on a Friday night down at Aldershot, we have a right old laugh. You can probably see in some of the games, I've recorded down there that the banter and the in jokes and the wind ups and everything. It's like
jokes,
it's like almost being in profession, kind of like being in team sports. That kind of banter that goes on, which I love. I haven't had that since I
No.
used to play
That's
rugby
a really good
many
example
years.
of it done with sports.
Yeah.
With that team, like
It's the same kind of
camaraderie.
thing,
It's camaraderie, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're all here to do the same thing, aren't we? And we all enjoy it for the same reasons, so we all understand. But we all know people that just don't get wargaming. Like my missus don't get it. She just can't understand why I sit here and I paint these models. She just does not understand it. She just thinks it's a complete waste of time and pointless. And she'll tell me that. But
yeah,
it's nice to have similar-minded people. But I think what she does by watching bloody telly is a pointless and waste of time. Can't bloody stand it. It drives me insane.
I would say the same thing with mine, but yeah, exactly right. And I think it's just one of those things. I just think that kind of, I've had so many laughs with so many different people, and even just going down to a convention or to a show or to even to a competition, and fun you have with people. I mean, you're just playing bloody little toy soldiers, aren't you? It's not anything serious. So having a bit of a chin wag with people who are doing something you love and talking about a bit of history or even fantasy stuff, I think that's great. That's what I love.
Well, I went
really
to
love it. Plus, seeing the people laid out on the tables.
Oh yeah, that's so awesome. Isn't it?
Impressive.
Yeah, that's so awesome. Yeah. I remember going to Salute on my own because some gumbo couldn't come.
They're always on like holidays. I don't know.
Yeah, and went to Salute on my own. But I literally was just like talking to anyone. It's like people started talking to me. You just talk to anybody, and everyone just majority. I'd say 90% of gamers are really friendly people. So I was watching. It was like a World War II. No, World War One. It was. Do you know like Blood Red Skies, like one of them flight games? But it was played over like a 20 by 20 table at Salute. It's huge.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's not something that I know anything about. And I literally just went up to him. I said, "Oh, sorry to waste your time, buddy. I just want to know a bit more about the game, sort of thing." And he was like, "Oh, no, you're not wasting my time. It's really nice. I'll explain it all and all this." And he was just so friendly. Yeah. I couldn't get him to shut up. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go and have a look.
About 4 hours. That's
yeah,
right.
I'm gonna go and have a look at this stuff now. Oh no, come and have a game. Come and have a go. You might not play it, but just try it out. So you've tried it. And I was just like, they're so friendly people. And I was just like,
that's true.
It's nice. I can't wait to come up and have a game, Dom. It's going to be it's going to definitely be one of those things,
I must admit, I am starting to get the withdrawal symptoms, I think, of gaming. I'm desperate for a game.
I've been like it for weeks. I'm not going to joke, Liam. I've been like it for over a month now. Easy over a month. Easy. I've wanted a game of something. I need to roll some dice. Tabletop
I think as
Simulator's not
well,
going to crack it or anything.
Dom, you obviously go to a club, don't you? I mean, I haven't gone to a regular wargaming club for a long time, back when I was first into Warhammer. So I think I definitely do want to. We've got one local that we've joined a group for ages ago, didn't we? And we just never been to. So I think we should give it a go one time.
Yeah. That's
In fact, there's two, isn't there? There's two that local to us that we could go to.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
I think it's always worthwhile joining a club. I always recommend people do it. I mean, I think you might have to try a couple of different places. In clubs, you'll find that there's different groups of people that you kind of gel with. It's like real life, isn't it? Some people get on better than others, and I know, for instance, the Farnborough guys that I game with now. When I first joined, I played with one group of guys there, and I just didn't really get on with games that they were playing. Nice guys, didn't really get
just
on
didn't
with
enjoy
what
the
they were
games.
playing.
Yeah.
So, yes, but there was another group of people doing some other stuff, which I've sort of got in with now, and we seem to have the same kind of interests. We play a lot of sharp practice, we play a lot of bolt action, black powder, all those kind of stuff, and it just we just get on, and we have very similar mentalities of the game, and we take the piss out of each other. It's great fun. So even within a club, you'll find different sort of subgroups that cross over from time to time and what have you. But at least you get a bit of variety. So I would always say join the club if you can.
Yeah.
It's got to be worthwhile.
I'll tell you what, Dom. The Facebook groups really helped with everything, and being able to seeing people, their progress and models. Like, if people are watching now are a part of the Miniature Wargaming Warriors Facebook group, you always find Dom's videos on there and everything. But I just love seeing when people put pictures up of their stuff. It can be of any quality. It don't have to be amazingly painted. It's just nice to see people progressing and showing off their work.
I like the way he mentioned my video up there, and then he talks about not dodgy quality painting. There you go. See that, Liam? Little dig going on there.
And nice little Facebook plug there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah, little bugger. Yeah. The Facebook stuff is great. Even Ken's channel is very good. And the Discord as well. That's another one.
Yeah, we got Discord. Oh yeah, the link for it is still on there. Actually, it's actually worked. So yeah. Do you know what? I think I need to do that more. I need to actually go on Discord to hang out with people for the hobby. I've created this bloody Discord page, and I should go on there. I
think every time you're painting, you should just go on there, just be on the voice chat. If anyone joins, don't they?
Yeah, maybe I should. Yeah, it's not a bad shout. I don't even have to have the headset the whole time because it'll make a noise if someone joins the chat anyway, wouldn't it? So I can just have a look. So yeah, I think I'll start doing that a bit more. You can start as well, Liam.
We'll have to have a board meeting about this.
Try and drop me in this shit.
Love it.
Yeah, we should do.
Fun. Hi, Martin. Good evening to you, mate. How you doing? He's in
evening,
there,
buddy.
And Steve says he actually loves building plastic figures.
I do. Yeah.
Helmet runs for cover. I absolutely have no problem. It's not. I'm not going to have a go at anybody. People, but I know many people who love making them, and it's just not for me. For me, it's I've said
the problem I have is I rush them. I had this thing of wanting to rush them to get them done, even though I really enjoy it.
Fuck.
And then it's things like that T-34 thing. It was afterwards I thought, I could have tried out something new on this. I could have tried these casting bits. So I'm going to do it for the turret this time. But I should just slow down a bit really with it and just take the time. Especially some of the poses with the Russians.
Oh, I just fucked up.
Here's a question for anybody in the chat, right? So if you hate making models, if you hate painting them or making them or what have you, well, let's say just stick to making them up. If somebody would say to you, you had all the money in the world and you could have them painted and created and paid for you exactly as you want them to be, would you do it?
That is a nasty question.
I've done it.
I've done it. I want to see what everyone says.
I've done it, Dom. I've had a commission done for me. My original Germans were commission painted.
Do you feel that? Do you have the same affection for them as you would otherwise?
No. No, I don't, because I didn't paint them.
Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely not. And you know, I now feel if I painted them now, I could do a better job. Not being harsh on whoever did them, but they did a really
No.
nice job. But I feel if I really took the time now, it's that's when we first started doing World War Two, isn't it? And
Yeah.
I just painted I've just painted a whole British Army, and I just couldn't deal with it. So I sent them off to be painted, and they were done really cheap for the price. They were brilliant. For the price
Yeah.
I paid, they were really nice quality. The basing was really nice. If I did them,
You don't have that link, that feel to them, yeah. Whereas when you've got that fully painted army you've done, it does give you a certain sense of pride, doesn't it,
an achievement.
when you play them.
I wouldn't
So
ever.
I have a few regiments out in the garage that are pre-painted and pick them up from bring and buys or bought them online at eBay or what have you, and some of them are lovely and I actually really like them. But I still, like you say, I don't really have the same affection as I do for my figures. Although sometimes I look at mine, well, quite a lot. I look at mine and think, oh god, I wish I was that much better to do them.
Yeah,
And I think my figures painting has definitely got better in the last year or so. But I still look at them and go, "Ooh, I wish it was just a little bit better than it actually is."
I think we put a
But
bit
yeah,
of
I
a
don't
thing
have
on
the same
ourselves, don't
affection.
we?
yeah.
We do.
Bit
We're
of a
always harder on
perfectionist thing.
ourselves.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely, absolutely. It's interesting who we got in the chat saying Peter says no, he definitely wouldn't. Paul says he's not sure. As Paul says he's not sure. Leslie, no, the painting and the modelling are part of the hobby, and that's true. It is for a lot of people. I know it's the modelling, creation,
We just wanted to play games,
the
didn't we, when we were doing
researching of the
that?
regiments. I just like playing games. Yeah, exactly. For me, it's just getting the figures out. So it's like when people, I admire them immensely, where they spend hours and hours and hours and months in their regiments and getting them absolutely perfect, getting every cuff turn right, and all the different bits and bobs. And I admire their dedication. It's just not for me. I mean, I may do some cursory stuff like like I was doing the English Civil War Pike Regiment the other day, and I knew I wanted it to be a white regiment, so I looked up and it was Lord Percy had a white regiment, and right, it's going to be Lord Percy's, but I can't say I necessarily went through every colour tuft and everything else to make sure it was perfect.
No,
And I admire people who do that. For me, it's just no, that's just too much.
I'd love to have them all like
looks
that, but it's too
good.
much. I couldn't
Yeah.
have a unit on my table for more than a couple of weeks. It would drive me fucking crackers. They would have to go in the later on bin. And I've done it.
Yeah.
I've done it. I've done that. I've been adamant to do something, and I just haven't done it. And I've gone now. I can go in the loft. I'm not looking at that anymore. I've done it with
Or
that.
be sold.
Yeah, or be sold. Yeah, yeah. Sell minis.
I can't do. It takes so much for me to sell things.
Oh no,
Or
done at all for me.
failure.
If I'd rather not have it, I've got the mentality of if I'm not going to do it, I'd rather someone give me some money and them actually paint it. So
Yeah.
so someone gets the enjoyment out of it and it just doesn't sit there. That's it's my personal thing for it, and that's how I deal with not having a massive stash of backlog, because I have to control myself. Because if I didn't control myself, if I was single, man, Jesus Christ, my house would be covered
You
in
haven't
plastic.
controlled yourself in the
Control
past.
yourself, you'd be like me.
I haven't, have I, Liam? Let's be honest, I haven't, have I?
It's been, yeah, he has been in a right state before.
Yeah, it just doesn't
Yeah.
stop, does it? Liam, yeah, I bought this. Oh yeah, I bought this. I bought this.
Payday, the amount that was spent, I was like, oh my god, what have I done to this guy?
Yeah, I'm gonna cause him to be single. But yeah, no.
Yeah.
I've yeah, that's what I mean. So I
Leslie
have
says
to
the
put a
money
break
would
on it.
be better to make it more like the lockdown. Hang on, don't understand this. Money would be better to make it more like the lockdown with time to do the hobby. It's time that's the commodity you need most of. Oh, I see what you mean. So yeah, this lockdown giving you time to do it. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, definitely time is a huge thing. For a lot of people, they just do not have the time to dedicate to painting figures.
Yeah,
And I can understand then going to get them commission painted. And there's a couple of people I follow. There's I don't know whether you listen to old uh, the GM's Alco Fritz, who does a live stream regularly, and he does some lovely painting jobs, and it's fabulous. And I think I wouldn't decry anybody making a profession out of selling their their skills in painting, and for people who've got very little time, I completely understand that.
It's bloody
And
handy.
I say I'm not dismissing it because I would do it if I had, I don't think I'd. That's one point. I would actually do it, but I just don't think I'd feel quite the same. Well, I know I don't feel quite the same about the unit,
No,
the figures themselves.
I,
I would happily do it,
I've got
but would I
one
feel the same?
exception. I've got one exception to that, and the only exception I've got is my 40k Orc Army. I absolutely love it, and I'll tell you why. Because it was an absolute bargain. that's that's why I that's why I love it
There
so
you go,
much.
Ken and the money.
Oh no, it didn't.
So Ken the
It didn't cost me a penny, Dom. Right,
bloody hell.
right. It didn't cost
That's
me a penny.
bargain.
And what it was is
Sexual favours?
no. There was a guy in the States. Yeah, I did a trade for a Baneblade battle tank I had, and I said, well, what have you got? And this guy messaged me and he said, I've got a load of old like Space Marines, and what else did I get? I've got something else. Oh no, that was it. I traded a Age of Sigmar starter set from the first edition of Age of Sigmar, which I picked up for 40 quid in my local hobby shop because he wanted to get rid of a load of them. He had loads left. So I was like, okay, sweet, I'll have that. I had it for ages, didn't I, Liam? Do you remember? We were gonna play it. And I traded it for a Baneblade and a load of old second edition Space Marines. Okay? Shitloads of them. Probably about 70, 80. I was happy with just the Baneblade. So we traded. Happy days. Okay? 6 months goes by. And I'm like, oh, I don't want this Baneblade anymore. So I sold it. Because I didn't even use it. And then I thought, I might as well sell these second edition Marines. And I just put them on the Facebook group. And I was like, right, Marines for trade or sell. And some guy in the States messaged me and he said, well, what would you want as trade? And I just said, well, what have you got? He said, well, I've got a 2,000 point Orc Army you can have. And I'm thinking, what, for all these second edition Marines? And he was like, yeah. I said, you do realise they're the second edition post? And he was like, yeah, I really, really want them. They're like expensive over here to get. And I was like, okay, fine. So he posted me. I thought he was going to just add me because I wouldn't have sent anything else. He sent me this 2,000 point painted based Orc Army to a really decent standard. It was like it's quite a good standard, isn't it, Liam? That Orc Army. I wouldn't say it's shocking.
No, I mean the thing with orcs, you can get away with a lot, but it is pretty good, that one.
Yeah, and I've got a Lamb Raider in there. How much is the Lamb Raider?
Oh yeah.
Got a Lamb Raider. I've got 3 Chimeras,
40 quid.
2 Rhinos, and like God knows how many troops. And you're talking hundreds of pounds worth of kit. And he took these multi-pose Marines that we've got absolutely tons over here.
Static pose Marines. You mean?
Yeah.
They're literally just stood there.
They're those ones where they're Dom. You must know what these Marines are.
Just gone.
The standard
Bang,
Marine. It's just got his bolter. And I was just like, and the guy was well happy, so I was obviously happy. I didn't think he was actually going to send me anything, so I wasn't too fast. I'd just been out of the postage, And I was like, yeah, I can't believe it. So, for the reason of a bargain, I love that army. Absolutely love it. And I love absolutely. That's going to be my 40k army, and I won't. It's really weird because I won't ever get rid of it, and I didn't paint it. It's so strange. And I've got rid of like my first ever army, my first ever models that I done. I got rid of them. It's so weird. So weird. I'm so weird anyway, and let's be honest.
You are, yeah.
Steve says, no, it wouldn't feel right. He's been asked to commission paint and build something when the lockout is over. And even handling something I painted would be difficult. Yeah, I get that.
I could do commission. I reckon I could do commission paint because I wouldn't have a problem with sending it to somebody, especially if it's their own model, of course. I definitely wouldn't. I'd be a bit gutted if it was a really nice paint, really nice paint job. And I'd be like, oh, that is really nice. I might have to paint another. Might have to paint another. Might have to paint another one of those. But yeah, for tape, I've been quite.
Miller's miniature says. Sorry, carry on.
No, I was gonna say if someone said to me about painting like tabletop standard, I'd be more than happy to paint like miniatures and tabletop standard. I wouldn't do a full army because I just wouldn't have the time.
No.
I do like individual miniatures and stuff like that, and I'm definitely getting better. But You feel like someone's paying you for a service, I guess, wouldn't you? And you know, is that good enough? Is that what they expect? Is my painting good enough? You know, it's just one of those things.
I mean, but it's probably no more of a leap of faith than sticking what you've done up or a tutorial up on YouTube, is
I'll
it?
tell you what, it was so hard the first
I
time
know-
I ever put a painting video up on YouTube because I
yeah,
I, I
me
thought
too.
I thought I was going to get absolutely slated. You know,
Just putting your figures up each week, saying, this is what you've done. I would think, well, I don't know what people are going to say, but it always seems to be very positive, and I don't know if it's just people being nuts,
it's
or
part of the
not,
hobby,
but
innit?
it's generally, yeah, it's just generally, I think you sometimes don't realize quite how much better you do it than you kind of, Liam was saying earlier, you're a bit critical of yourself, and it's true, you are, I think. So I don't know, it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
That's interesting. So Culloden Painting Studios, yeah, I know he does. I've watched his Instagram stuff. Fantastic stuff he does. He says he does commission paintings, but I've yet to feel that I couldn't pass the mini on. I'm providing a service, so there's a dissociation from owning the model. I guess that's how you got to be if it's a business. If that's what you do, you've got to do that. You've got to. You can't own. It's not your model, is it? Even if it's one you're
No,
providing, it's somebody else's.
no.
If you looked at it any other way, you couldn't do it. So yeah, I think
That's why I
yeah, he
want to
does
do
some
these.
fantastic.
That's why I want to do these nights and these regiments of renowned justice. You know, because Sean gave them to me for free, and they were just sitting in his garage. But to me, he's given me something to do, and I really want to take my time with them, and I really want to paint them up nice, because they weren't mine originally, and someone's given them to me, and I think it's really nice that they've done that. So you just want to do things justice sometimes, don't you? Just feels like that. Hint, hint for your orcs, Dom.
Martin just said, I used to paint up all of my mates' models and had no problems with parting with them, but got sick of being beaten by them.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Jesus, I bet that'd be painful, wouldn't it? Paint the.
I used to take the mick out of my mate Nick, who painted fabulously, absolutely brilliantly. He used to pay him all the time, and I just said, you just need to do the back of their cloaks, because that's the only bit we're going to see as they're running from the table. That's my fighting talk. I don't know. It's a weird thing, isn't it? Miller's Miniatures said he'd only ever consider buying them or getting them commissioned if it was a model that had spent a lot on and didn't want to mess it up. Yeah, I can get that. I think that's the one time I would possibly. And I was showing that Undead Dragon and the Undead Giant last week, and those models are just so good. I just don't want to mess them up. And I think
Yeah, but you can always
that's the
strip them,
one
Dom.
time
You can always strip them, can't
Yeah,
you?
I could. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't give them to anyone else to paint. I will paint them, but it does give me that moment of thought. I think, oh, if I knew a decent painter and it wasn't going to cost me a ridiculous amount of money,
Yeah.
and just said to them to be done like this, I would be tempted to do that. I
Oh
really
yeah,
would,
yeah.
because that
I'll tell you
I
what.
want it to look really good.
Yeah, that's it. To have a really sick looking dragon, or for 40k, it'd be say like an Imperial Knight. To have a really nice paint job on, a metallic paint job on an Imperial Knight would look awesome, and awing and things like that.
Yeah, agreed.
But I don't. Just like my 6mm epic stuff. Yeah, I think I've done quite a good paint job on those. To be fair, they're probably. It's really weird. They're really basic, but I took my time with them. But I got it all looking uniform and unique. And I'm not lying. What I've got on my desk right now is it's so weird. Recently, everything I keep doing, I seem to be getting better with every single like batch paint I'm doing. I don't know why it is, but I seem to be doing something that I've not been doing recently, and they are really, really good. And along with this night, probably some of the best models I've painted, and that's batch painting them, which I think is really crazy. I think absolutely crazy. I've definitely got a lot better, but I'll tell you one thing: the massive thing that changed for me was thinning my paints. When I thought I'd thinned them enough, I hadn't. So I thinned. You have to thin them more because you think you thinned them enough, but you just don't. And I'm now used to painting 3 or 4 layers to just do one. I'm used to it now. Whereas before it would be like one layer done. One layer done. and I can't do it anymore. I have to paint like 3 or 4 layers. Unlike that Gumbo that's painting some sort of Katushka thing.
I'm dry brushing, bit of weathering,
He's
bit of
cheap brushing.
wearing.
He's cheap brushing.
Cheap brushing, I am. I think batch painting really helps you to. I think it's mainly a confidence thing, though. I don't. Well, it probably is a skills thing as well. But just because when you do a batch paint and you've managed to get so much achieved,
Yeah.
you feel more confident to take risks in the next one and try a different technique out.
Oh, 100%.
Like I was saying with the vehicles, like I really want to just every time I do one, I want to like try something different, like little modeling technique or something that I've not tried out before.
Mm-hmm.
There's things that I want to go back now and repaint some of the Russian tanks that I started with.
Yeah, and that's the problem. That's
Yeah.
That's the massive problem. Is that's what I've found. My painting's got better, and it's like I find it really hard to get an old army out that I painted originally and look at it the same way as I do with my new stuff I painted. I should look at it as a journey, but that's probably why I haven't got such a problem with getting rid of older minis that I first painted originally, because I don't think they're as good as standard. I should stop being so harsh on myself and accept that was when I wasn't as good as a painter as I am now, I guess, and just accept that's what they look like and use it as a canvas to say this is what I used to be like, this is what I am now. And it's it's just one of those
You can
things.
also go back and touch some of those up a bit,
Yeah.
I know I've done that with the older figures. I go back and get them out and think, oh my god, look at those, and just a little bit of dry brush here, a bit of ink here, a bit of touching up with some of the bit of highlighting on some of them, improving the bases, and suddenly they look
a little bit better,
amazingly so much better. And you think, well, why didn't I do that the first time? I look back at some of the figures I've got, from years ago, and they're mounted on old bits of cardboard, and you think, what the fuck was I thinking of? I mean, it's just horrible, but partly it was ignorance, and partly it was just trying to get the time elements that we were talking about earlier, and partly just I knew no better. I think now I've looked at and I watched many videos all the time, about different people's techniques. I take bits of them, apply them in my painting, different paints that I hadn't heard of before, contrast being one, but things, just things that I think, oh, that's a really good idea. Your bloody orcs, you've got me looking at people painting orcs. So I saw some guy painting them up in one particular way, and I thought, oh yeah, that's a really good way. So I'm going to take that for the skin tone that he's doing and do that way, and I'll do something else with some other bits of it. But it's just all those little elements. Martin's Seventh Son, I saw one of his videos where he was doing medieval knights, and he did the basilic grey,
the basilica grey, basilicum grey,
underneath, and then just dry brushes it, with silver or what have you over the top. And now I do all my armor like that because it just looks fantastic, and it's so quick. And so all these little techniques you pick up and you think, and you apply them, and you get better by doing them, don't you? And I think the videos help. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And even if you do not such a great paint job, like I've done it before. I did it with one of my contrast Germans. Yeah, my first version of that. I look back on it because I still got it. I've just taken it down. It wasn't a great paint job to what it was, and people gave me loads of comments, and I said, right, I'll redo it then. And I redid it, and it's done a lot better. Because it looks better. I definitely have learned a lot over this past year, especially with contrast paints and different manufacturers like Vallejo. Just using those paints. It's like I've painted some of the stuff that's on the table, which I'm not going to show you, obviously. I've used other manufacturers' paints than I normally would have done to do certain colours, just because I wanted a darker green. So I looked at the one range of paints and I thought, I could use that green that they recommend, and I thought, do you know what, I want it to look a bit darker than that. What have I got in darker green form? So I just had a look and I was like, oh, there's that Vallejo really dark green there. Why not? What one is it? Military green from Vallejo. And I was like, yeah, why not use that? Why have I got to use that other brand,
Yeah, mixing paints as well. I really enjoy mixing paints, just getting new colours now. I never used to do that. I used to just stick to the Citadel colours.
Yeah.
That was the way it was meant to be. That's what I'm going to use. And now, I just literally, like this salute miniature I finished up tonight.
Yeah.
I was just like looking at what paints I've not used in ages, and I thought, oh yeah, I'm going to use some of that, or Gilliman blue glaze. I thought, oh, I'll try that on a cape and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And little things that I haven't used in so long that it just sits there slowly drying up. And I thought, you know what, I'm going
Give
to
it a
go
go.
a bit mad with this one.
Yeah, why not?
Mix some colours up that I wouldn't normally mix, colours that I don't normally use.
I'd definitely say that both of our painting, Liam's come on a long way in the last year, isn't it? And that's down to doing it more, I think, is just being we're painting different models than, you started
Yeah.
with.
Well, yeah, I certainly didn't paint as much as I did before you got into it, because I didn't have someone saying, what the hell have you done this week? Come on.
Yeah.
Chop, chop.
When are we playing next? Hurry up. But I just want to say before.
That's funny.
Go on.
Sorry, carry on. Mate.
No, I was just going to say before.
No, I was going to say the whole thing about the
Go on,
video bits help that.
Did they?
I talked about this on a few videos on other things. Is community guys always say that the pressure of getting a video up to show what you've been working on actually helps because it makes you keep painting, right?
I know.
I can't have a week where I've done nothing.
I've taken a couple of weeks off the first time in the year now, because I think it's either a year now or it's just coming up to a year of YouTube. And I've said I'm not going to do any videos on the Saturday for the Saturday just gone and this Saturday coming, because I need a little break. Just because I don't want to get burnt out, because I've got a video that I'm doing at the moment that's going to take me a few weeks to do, and I think people will really like it, because it's not something I've done in this sort of format before. But it's painting, but it's painting. And I think people on the chat will probably guess what it is, but I'm not going to say anything. But I just need a bit of time just to be able to paint without having to film
tonight, isn't it? Tease.
Oh, it's all about the
plugs.
tease. It's tease and
plugs. That's what...
Tease and plugs.
You tease them, and you keep them keen, don't you? But I've got Mighty Joe here. Hello, Mighty Joe. I've not seen you before, buddy, so welcome. He's gone. He's put 40k has gone to shit. All the new miniatures and rules now look like they've been designed by a 12-year-old with. Oh my god, you can't say that. No, I'm not going to read that. And fed a pound of sugar.
Fair comment.
Yeah.
Fair comment.
But I got to admit, I hate the logo. I hate the logo. Liam, it's like a cartoon series. What have they done to 40k?
I know.
That's
the thing. A lot of it's cartoony now, isn't it?
Yeah, they're making it child friendly. Fuck off, Games Workshop. Don't make it child friendly. It's not for children. They paired
with Disney, didn't they? Didn't they pair with Disney?
No. It's not for children. It's for grown men. We like our plastic miniatures. Leave us alone. Stop trying to get them into it at the age of 12. Let them wait till they're 18.
This is a thing. I got into Warhammer when I was like 8, but now I'm like, I tried, like, even their kids' novels, like we got that sample, didn't we? Necrons versus humans and stuff, and it's like it's supposed to be child friendly. Like, I suppose, it says, I think it says 8+ or something, but I was like, I was definitely reading this like before I played it as well, so it must have been like 6 or 7. No, 7, 8. Yeah. But I was just like, I don't know whether I could actually show this to a 6 or 7-year-old, because even though it's trying to be kid friendly, it's very dark.
But this is
the whole premise of it is grim dark.
That's the whole point. The universe isn't a child friendly environment, and I don't want it to ever be. And the day it becomes that, I'll be really pissed off, because I want it to be a grim dark universe where you've got, you might say what you want, Liam, but the Slanesh for me is a sex demon god.
Yeah,
she's got big boobies, but now she hasn't. It's like
at least with World War II is a bit. Obviously it is dark, isn't it? But and it's real life. But at least there's a bit of history to it, Yeah.
But 40k was designed around, that rock, like, was it punk rock? Sort of thing, wasn't it? And it was meant to be that dark, grim environment, and it feels like it's becoming so much more child friendly as the additions are going on. I'm not liking the way it's going, and that new logo is just screaming the kids thing for me, and I don't like the way it's going. I don't like the way it's
taking
going.
over.
Yeah, but why do they have to? Just leave my hobby alone. That's why. Just leave it alone.
It does. That's what I'm saying. I
And,
think nowadays, like I read it when I was a kid, like Chaos Slanesh demons and stuff, like they're just like
Yeah, but
literally
you've got
excess.
yeah, but what's
And
those
I
sisters
turned out
models?
alright.
What's those sisters models there to change because they were all naked? The
Oh
Repentiers.
yeah, the Repentiers, yeah.
Yeah, do you know the background to these models, right? Is they're naked women that go into
Repenting.
bat. They go into battle with a chainsaw, right, Dom? They like a chainsaw. Because they've stripped all their armor off because it's really a religious cult, yeah, and they're repenting for their sins. So if they survive, they could be put back to their armor and their honors restored. But with the new models, they've got them all dressed over with cloth because you can't do it nowadays, can you?
Yeah, but at the same time, I must admit, I do congratulate. The penitent engines are very grim dark. Like,
Yeah, but you
I,
can
I
get
would.
but you can get a. There was a version where you could. It wasn't just women because you could. There was a version where you could have a bloke, couldn't you, with everything showing. He was strapped up,
Yeah,
wasn't he? So it
yeah,
wasn't
that's what I
just
mean. That now there is that as well.
yeah,
It's pretty graphic, but yeah, like you say, the Repentia have definitely been clothed a lot more.
yeah. Which
There's
in
a
the
lot
law,
more purity steels covering everything.
yeah, but in the law it's not like that, and it just feels like
No.
everything's changing because it has to be more child friendly, and it's just like oh man, it's just a plastic model. It's not serious. Did you see that?
Nick says GW is going over to Warhammer Smurfs.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise. Yeah,
It's probably
no, it's probably a fair comment. I'm not gonna lie, and it's like, oh, what is it? What did I see? There was this group. I can't remember who it was, but it might have been like this activist group. It was an activist group that was saying about, uh, it was like no women or something in something or no, I can't remember. I'll find out for next week. But there was definitely an activist group that were tearing on Warhammer and thinking it was a real thing. Like, they were being discriminated against because they thought it was actual people, but it's not. They don't realise it's actually just a tabletop game. I'll have to find the news article, but it's somewhere. But it's like,
That reminds me of many, many years ago, and I've probably told this story already, so forgive me if I do or repeat myself. But the oh god, was it anti-nuclear protesters who blockaded Warfare, the show in
yeah,
Reading, as it used to be.
it's something similar to like
Many,
that, Dom. It's like a
they did. They literally it's called Warfare. They thought it was something politically incorrect, so they all came up with all these placards and what have you, and blockaded it. And there's us all big fat old men with backpacks trying to get in and going, you know what? It's toy soldiers.
Yeah, it's toy
You realise?
soldiers.
And they sort of went,
No.
oh, is it? Oh, but it's glorifying war. Well, yeah, kind of. But can they get in now, please?
Yeah,
That's it. It was really.
we're just playing with plastic now.
Oh,
We're deciding.
Just playing.
I'm an adult for Christ's sake. I'm nearly 30. I can decide what I want to do with my life. I don't need people telling me that. Just because my dwarf is a dwarf, you shouldn't play with it because you might be taking the piss out of dwarfs. No, they're fantasy dwarfs. They've been around since Tolkien. It's like just leave it alone. And I really hope that the hobby scene doesn't turn into the politically correct sort of.
I mean, I do want some of that. Like, there was like the female representation, especially in the guard armies. Like they should have had more females in there.
Oh
like,
yeah,
that makes
definitely,
sense.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
the Sisters of Battle, I do think they have done the Sisters of Battle range pretty good. Yeah,
Well, as a sisters player, don't you? But what I mean is,
yeah.
I don't mean per se the models. I just don't want political groups getting involved in a hobby. Say it's not right to do something, or it's like that. It's not right to do that. And it's like, just please don't.
Because in the end of the day, this is an art form, isn't it? In the end of the day, so
this is art.
There is a bit of creative format in it. So
yeah, I think that's the only thing that's saving us, to be honest.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm corrected. It wasn't called Warfare. It was Armageddon, was what it was called in those days. That's why they thought it was. You're quite right, guys. You older folks remember it better than I do. Apparently, we've still gotten some stuttering on the channel, which is weird. I don't know why that is.
It's time to end anyway.
Maybe the thing. maybe
Oh.
the pounds run out of the meter. It's time to.
Guys, 10
step
o'clock.
up, isn't it? Yeah.
It's 10 o'clock.
It's
Got
10 o'clock.
ranted, didn't we? We got a bit ranty there.
Yeah, we did.
It was very, very ranty. Tonight was ranty at its best, for sure.
Just a quick question before we go. Do you guys like the ranty sort of show? Do you actually like it? Do you enjoy it, or would you rather we tried to keep to a specific topic? Because that would be quite interesting to know, wouldn't it? Because I find that whenever I listen to a podcast, I do like a ranty podcast. It's just me. Oh, look at Liam. Oh.
I like people having a bit of discussion. I think that's. I mean, I thought tonight we talked to a lot of different subjects, and I think I felt it actually ran quite well. But I guess people will be the judge of that, whether they come back next week.
Yeah. Are you gonna come back next week? That's the question. So go on then, Liam. Let's see what you've done. You go.
Oh right, okay. So finally, the salute that I never went to, I finished the miniature.
Yeah, you won that in the tournament, didn't you, Liam? That we held. Yeah.
Yeah, I won it, didn't I?
You did.
For some reason. Oh yeah, you gave me the dice, didn't you? You gave me a dice, and then I won this in the little mini tournament we had.
Yes, you did. Yes.
So yeah, she's pretty cool. Tried out a few random things for that. Did a bit on this guy, Space Marine. I just wanted to. I'm probably not going to do an Imperial Fist Army, but I wanted to try out the yellow. I tried 2 different washes. I tried Reikland Flesh Aid, and what was the other one? Oh, Seraphim Sepia. Which
Sepia's
it didn't quite work as nice on the yellow. So I know now that's probably what I'm going to use, the Reikland on yellow.
Yeah.
If I ever decide to do a little thing of that.
Yeah.
And then I've just done a bit on the old rocket car. Still not finished it. I just need to do a few little extra bits on it. But the main rocket chassis is done. Just got to finish off the actual truck itself.
Yeah, looking good. Looking very good. What about yourself, Dom? What did you get up to?
Well, I've actually finally managed to make up the rest of these Gripping Beast cataphracts, so they're all made up, ready to go. And
Excellent.
I've uncorked the orcs.
Oh.
I've uncorked the orcs. I have the first one off the sprue.
Oh.
I'm cleaning him up.
What's called uncork?
What's the mold lines like?
Sorry again?
Is that what's
mold
called?
line's not too bad. It's a bit of a bugger to get off the sprue, a bit like the Gripping Beast ones. They're big old chunky sprues, I have to say.
But
which is not great for them. I'm going to have to get some different clippers with different longer clips, I think.
You want to get...
It's really hard to get them in.
Oh, where the bloody hell is it? I've got some for 3D printing, Dom. They've got these blue handled thin clipper ones. They are the best clippers I've ever had. And I've had them for a couple of years now. The old ones go to a real point. I'll send you a link to what they are, but they're only about £5. And they're awesome. Really good set of clippers. But they're quite nice, those Mantic ones, because they've got... You were saying, because I saw when you did your unboxing, that they've got like slots to fit in with the arms, haven't they? So you can pose them. They're not static, are they? They're multi-pose. So you could have a spear in the air.
This is the sort of plastic kit I like, is that there's enough you can do a little bit of variation without having to, put together every frigging arm and make it, having it lined up absolutely perfectly.
Just remember, when you're building these, you have to be able to fit them in a 20 block. So that block, you must remember not to stick all the spears sticking out forwards, because otherwise they won't fit. So your first set, it probably won't be too bad with the axes, but the spears you'll want to put them at some like straight, some at an angle, like what is it called?
Like the phalanx.
Yeah, the phalanx. That's it. I was thinking of hoplites, but no, that's the wrong thing.
Hoplites.
Yeah, that's it. Hoplites. Was it the right thing?
Yeah.
No,
it was.
Yeah, they're quite enough.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. So apparently consensus on the chat is they liked both, but they like the banter and the rants. Although Chris did make the point, rants are very negative. Constructive discussion is much better. Yes. I think we were constructive. We just thought GW with his shit.
Every week.
The problem is though, I really like their old. I like their old stuff. I like that stuff that's like 2005.
It started again. Look, it's off again.
2005. I like the 2005. Give me fantasy. I want fantasy back. Give it back to me. But yeah, no, don't start me again. Fucking hell, I'll keep going for hours and I'll get shouted at. She'll go mental. And but yeah, yeah. So that's what you've done. I have done. I've actually. Do you know what? I didn't expect to do anything tonight. I was just going to sit here, but I've
Couldn't
Nearly-
resist.
No, I couldn't because they're just sitting there and they're nearly done. So he's nearly finished, and I've painted and based. Well, I've started base coating, and washed about 3 or 4 others, and I've only got one that's not done, and he's a character, so he's going to get done last. He's a
How
general.
many did you get with it?
Uh,
With them then? I thought you got like a whole army. Is it just one set
no,
of
no, no.
renown?
No, just the cavalry. Just the cavalry.
Ah,
It's
right, okay.
It's like that's one regiment, just 6.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's a good little project then, isn't it?
that's what I mean. So they're there to be digged in between stuff. So I've got another 3 or 4 regiments to do. But yeah, so they're nearly done. So I'm hoping probably in the next couple of weeks, maybe on the next stream, I may get them finished. I might wait till Monday and do a Monday because I'm going to be busy painting other stuff till then. So, but yeah, that's what I got done, guys. But I think that's it.
Well done.
I think that's it for this week. So
I think it is.
yeah, really
Thanks for
nice.
everyone who
Yeah, really
joined.
nice to have everybody
Good
here.
interactive discussion tonight, I think.
Yeah,
I think
definitely
not too
like
much ranting.
no, but definitely like it when the chat gets involved. Definitely, it's one of the really nice things. So
Yeah, they've been pretty good tonight, eh?
yeah,
Not that they're not.
yeah, not normally, but definitely.
It's been a good to and fro, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
And Leslie makes a very good point. We're coming up to D-Day, so maybe we should do a D-Day special at some point.
Yes, very true. 6th of June, isn't it? So when are we the first? What day is D-Day? So that is Saturday, isn't it?
We're going to miss it. Maybe next week we'll do something around D-Day. I don't know when we can come up.
Yeah,
with
yeah. I might do something. I might do something like a thing on Saturday, but we'll see what's going on. So yeah, well, thanks a lot, guys, and we will see you again very soon. Well, we'll see you again next week, won't we? So let me just get that. Yeah. Bye bye for now. Bye.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys. Safe.